This episode of the podcast is brought to you by Metro Restyling. Metro is here to provide you with the best possible price and service in the market. If you're looking for color change films, tools, and more, visit metrorestyling.com and click the dealer tab to experience a Metro advantage. You can also download the Metro Restyling app for Apple or Android and make purchasing your vehicle films easier than ever. And don't forget to let them know the All Wrapped Up podcast sent you. We are also brought to you by All-One Wraps. Are you in the market for wholesale printing? Well, All-One Wraps got you covered. With pricing as low as $3 per square foot and printing on different wrap and specialty films like metallics, reflectives, and chromes, All-One Wraps will provide you with the quality printing and service. Visit All-One Wraps, that's ALWAN Wraps.com, and use discount code ALLWRAPPEDUP at checkout and receive 10% off your next purchase. Offer ends April 1st, 2018. Now here's another episode of the All Wrapped Up podcast.
The second they saw that there was a real process involved, that there's people that take it seriously and there's technique behind it and they can see that work in person being done and the care, the cleanliness, all that sold the job. And they walk out, like my customers will walk out educated. They know what a wrap is.
What's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to All Wrapped Up podcast. We'll be interviewing industry-leading wrap companies to share tips, tricks, stories, and more. All right, so we'll go live again with Scott Kepple from Skepple Inc. What's going on, Scott?
How you doing?
I'm doing well, brother. What's
long time no talk?
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, we had a little technical difficulty for the first run, but we're gonna make it work this time.
We're here now.
Yeah.
That's what matters.
Yeah. So typically I start the podcast by talking about a few projects you got going on for the week. Can you talk to us about a couple of design stuff you got going on?
We've got a few Gold Rush designs in, getting ready for the rallies coming up.
Nice.
And we usually stay pretty busy with all the different rallies throughout the year. And we also have a few commercial wraps in this week, a lot of custom wraps, and a lot of weathered wraps.
Nice. The weathered stuff seems like the new hot fab for this year, huh?
Well, I thought that it was going to be like the hot fad back in 2015 when we did the first few of them. And I think that as those cars got out there on the internet and people started doing them more, I think that it looked like it was a lot to me. Like I would look at our page and be like, oh my God, so many rust wraps and weathered wraps and everything. And I think even from like a wrapper perspective, it's like, oh, all right, another weathered wrap. But they're all so spread apart when you look at it on like a global scale that the people that are looking at these, they're seeing them for the first time. So if I wrap a vehicle today in Jacksonville where I am, there's no weathered wraps around here. And people's minds might know or have technical difficulties on their end. But it just starts a conversation. I think that we usually see the weathered wraps start out with the wrap shops. We'll see them do like the shop vehicles first. And it just sparks a conversation of why does your vehicle look like that? Or it'll be, it's so funny because it's either like the polar opposite. It's either the shop vehicle or it's a GT3 RS or a 458 or something like that. And so it's kind of polar opposites, but they both do the same thing. They both cause people to scratch their heads and ask questions, and that's what they should be doing.
Exactly.
Starting a conversation.
That's awesome. How many weathered wraps have you done so far?
I have no idea.
Too many to count.
I would say somewhere in the vicinity of 200 to 250.
Wow.
Something like that.
Wow.
Possibly a little more. We do a lot. We average between 15 and 25 wraps a week as far as designs go.
Wow.
With a heavy majority of them getting the weathered look.
That's insane. Now, going back on the Gold Rush, what type of cars you guys designing wraps for too?
I am not of liberty to say at this time.
Ooh, okay. We'll have to
Yeah,
wait till those
it's
come
kind of
out.
like the rule. Yeah, I'll tell you that it's some really cool stuff so far that we're working with Protective Film Solutions on.
Nice.
Out in working with Ryan out there. And last year we had a few other ones. We worked with Wrap Specialties, Marcos last year. We worked with EA Wraps, Trevor, on a few. And so I think it's just kind of getting started, but we're just starting to see them now, just right at the beginning of the year.
That's awesome. When does the rally start? Do you know?
The rally starts, I never honestly look this stuff up. I just say, okay, we'll get it done.
Yeah.
The one that I usually have to put a deadline on is a gumball overseas, because it'll be like a couple days before. Gold Rush Rally. This will be 10th one, I think, this year. Yeah, 10-year anniversary.
Wow.
The rally starts on. Oh, that's awesome. Doesn't say.
It's a secret too. God damn it.
I heard you go to an event website and it doesn't say when the event is.
That's the worst part.
Looks like it starts June 22nd, so there's still a lot of time.
Oh, we got tons of time. Holy cow.
Yeah.
But at least they're getting a head start on it. It's not last minute for you.
Yeah, and a lot of them do. I mean, we have SEMA cars for this year that we started last May.
Come on.
There's a lot of people that that really plan stuff out ahead of time. But then there's a lot that they don't have the ability to, or they just don't.
Right.
A lot of times they just don't, but it's fine.
What's the level of wraps that you do? Are you doing a lot more for commercial wrap shops, or more for people coming directly to you?
It's surprisingly more. Wait. Do you mean? Are we doing a lot more commercial wraps or custom wraps?
Well, either
or
one.
Are we doing more for clients or shops?
What's the majority of it that you
I'll
get?
answer both. Okay. So we do a lot of custom wraps more than commercial wraps.
Yeah.
I would say 70% of what we do is on the custom and personal car side.
Wow.
That being said, there's like a threshold where we're doing custom commercial wraps where we're making them, weathered out or tanks or stuff like that. So that kind of is a blurry area because yes, it's a commercial wrap, but it's way more involved than a standard commercial wrap.
Yeah.
But we cater all of the services to wrap shops. So it's still a consistent amount of commercial as they send them our way, or if the shops have a designer down and need us to pick it up. But a lot of times it's custom. As far as who we work with more, we work with wrap shops way more than end clients. I would say probably 85 to 90% of our clientele is wrap shops.
Wow. And it's all over the world. Yeah,
all over. There's like no boundary. Except Antarctica. I don't think I've talked on there yet.
That's great. Who do you got working with you at your shop? I know you got a couple of employees.
So it's me and 3 other guys. I have one. It's me doing all the wrap design, as well as Joshua. He does all of the wrap design as well. We're kind of like 50-50 as far as the workflow goes there. Mm-hmm. Then we have Donnie, and he's our illustrator. So if we need something, custom made or an element, we're going to 9 times out of 10 create it and not download it. But so he does that. And then we have one more, Adam, who's not here all the time, but he does all the posting on social media, making sure we stay up to date on everything like that. Because what I was trying to keep up with, keeping posting every single day. Right. And Kevin mentioned it in his podcast too. It's like a huge distraction from your workflow. So I brought him on just to post twice a day. Take a few minutes if you're, pardon my French, but if you're taking a dump and you have a few minutes, post a picture for us. And
well, isn't that when everybody starts posting pictures?
Yeah, I guess so. That's the time when your mind's open and everything's open, I guess. But you can kind of go through and figure out what you want to post. But
oh shit!
He's really good about keeping up with it. He kind of has like his windows where he posts every single day. He'll get in touch with me and say like what's new, what's upcoming, can I post this? He stays reactive, but it's just one of those things that I don't have to go in and think of what to say and all of this. We have a format that we do, and he just keeps it up.
That's
and
awesome.
it's probably one of the best things that I think that I could have done as far as time goes. I'm a workaholic. The guys call me the robot because I don't sleep very often. But to take that time away, it just drives me nuts. So having him is great.
Yeah, to take away you know what it is too. It's more or less is okay. You can find the perfect picture, but then you just gotta find something clever to write, and you take 10 minutes and you're like deleting half of it, and then you gotta start over. That's the worst part is trying to write the damn thing. I wish we could just post it.
I told him last week, I was like, let's not think of these catchphrases as much. We could just say what they are.
Right.
Because I was looking through our feed, and it was like every caption was like, blah, 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 blah. It was like everything was exclamation point. And I was like, man, we should literally just say, here's a challenger with a weather grab. Like, I'm fine with that.
Done. Couple hashtags. We'll call it a day.
We're going to start. I haven't done any hashtags at all. We're going to start doing some hashtags soon because I guess it's supposed to help. I'm so weird about how the posts look. Like, I don't like a lot of junk in there.
Yeah.
So it's like one of those things where it's like, I know we have to, but I just don't want to.
Well, it just broadens your reach a little bit. Other designers could find you and follow you, and inspirators and inspirations and whatnot. I know Dan Antonelli talked highly about you too. He wants to collaborate with you if you didn't know.
He is like the coolest guy, right?
Oh my God. I talked to him last week, man. And he's just like a humble dude. You know what I mean? Just straight up, just a great guy to talk to and just shoot the shit with.
So I had unknowingly seen his raps online just throughout the years. And when I first started Skepple, a good friend of mine, Brent from Design It up here in North Florida.
Yeah.
He was like, you should check out what's the old brand?
He just graphic design.
D-signs, yeah.
Yeah.
So he's like, oh, you're gonna start doing like these kind of raps, and I was like, what? No, like rap design, it's graphic design. And he's like, no, check it out. And he showed me like the site, and my mind just flew, and I was in awe of how minimalistic, but in your face everything was.
Yeah.
And I think that looking through his portfolio and just watching what they do, I think that is a lot of the inspiration that I got as far as like what I go for with commercial reps. It's actually the whole team, because that's kind of like the philosophy, right?
Yep.
Tell them what they need to know, not too much, and don't oversell. I mean, when I was in sales, it was always kind of like know when to shut up. And so I think with advertising, it's the same kind of deal. You get to know when to stop and let the customer pull you back in.
Right.
But if they have the information they need, then they don't need to get in touch with you. So if you list all the services, you have a million bullet points and everything like that, then the customer already got their questions answered. But if you have a broader spectrum, they're going to call you and say, do you do this? And you can start a conversation.
Absolutely. Yeah, he calls it the laundry list. You can't put the laundry list on the car. Everything gets really, really messed up.
Yeah.
You don't know what the process first. And his biggest thing is the brand, the icon, the logo, that needs to stand out the most. And then, 2 or 3 other things, point of contact and a slogan, if they have one. Simple, easy. But he makes it so his designs are so clean and so in your face, but it I don't know. As a designer myself, they look so simple, but I know they're not. I mean, he's got the finest details, and sometimes he's got like little things inside the lettering that just makes the lettering pop. He doesn't use shadows.
You don't even notice what it is. You're
right.
Like, why do I love that? I can't figure it out, because if I made that, it would look so flat.
Yeah, but, right?
They look amazing.
It's just the unbelievable work, and the team that he has is just incredible. They just know what they're doing, man. It's just insane. Have you read his book yet? That he just came out with?
He has a book? I didn't even know he had a book.
Dude, he's got like 3 books. He's got one going back to 2004, I think. It was called Logo. And then he had a Logo 2. And then he recently just has this new book. You got to pick it up, dude. He sent me a copy of it. Building a Big Small Business Brand. Dude, you think your mind's blown on his website? if you read this book, it's gonna take you to the next level, 100%, dude. I've only read a few pages, and it talks about a lot of vehicle wraps and how branding is created in his office, and he has like the schematics of everything, and he has a bunch of pictures of like from start to finish how a logo gets created. Dude, mind blowing.
Wow.
Mind blowing. I'm gonna have a coupon code soon, so don't go out and buy it yet. I might have a coupon code.
I won't. I'll wait.
Him and I have been talking.
I need it though, so please post it soon because I need it. That's
yeah,
amazing.
Yeah, I'll get you that.
You didn't have him on the podcast, did you? I don't think I.
I did. It's not released yet.
Oh, okay.
Give me about a week and a half or so. It's gonna be out. Probably either first or second week of February. That will be out. But great information, dude. It's gonna be a great podcast. Really dive deep into design and logo branding and vehicle wraps. You're gonna love it. It's gonna blow your mind.
He's got that beautiful new studio. When he first got the building, he did give me a few sneak peeks beforehand when they were still building it out, and man, it is just beautiful. Talk about something to strive towards, like as a goal.
Yeah.
Jeez.
He's definitely done something right. You know what I mean? He's built a great brand, and you know, changing the brand from graphic design to Kick Charge. I mean, that in itself, man, to have a business for so long and to build a brand and just completely flip it like that. We talk about that.
Scary.
Yeah, scary. Scary ain't the word, you know, but he's got a lot of great clients, and they really gave him a lot of great feedback on changing that name. So it'll be good.
Now you have a wrap design studio-esque kind of thing going on too, don't you?
Yeah.
The profile design.
Yeah, I'm starting to get back into it. Originally I had my own wrap shop a few years back. Unfortunately,
what was that called?
It was called Design Flow Wraps, out of Boston, Mass. Had a great business. Unfortunately, I was dealt with the cards of divorce, and had to unfortunately close it down. But you know, getting back into it as far as like the podcast, talking to people, it's really sparked the fire in me to come back and do something that I enjoy, which is like the design stuff. I like
I
the
can only
design.
imagine just talking to this many people all the time and really getting to know the industry on such a personal level. I mean, it's kind of, how can you not be inspired by that?
Yeah, man. And you know, I kind of share similar stories with everyone, you know, starting at home. I was cutting vinyl on my kitchen table for, 2 years before I opened up my own shop. Like, I can relate to everyone that started from nothing. So,
isn't that funny how everyone's kind of got a similar story of how they stumbled into something that became like the ultimate passion for them?
Yeah, right? It's such a great inspiration, and I love when people like hit me up after they listen to a podcast. They're like, "Man, I thought I was the only one going through that," and it's so nice to hear from other people, because that's a shit that nobody talks about. You know what I mean? They don't want to talk about the past or how they ate macaroni cheese for 3 months trying to build you know what I mean? Like, nobody talks about that. That's the shit I want to talk about. Like,
Dang, mac and cheese is an upgrade. Oh man,
right? Get the I don't know what you guys have, the equivalent of Market Basket up here. It's like the cheapo food store, but you get the store bought brand, and you live off of that for a couple months. That will definitely change your life.
Yeah, for sure. So something I noticed, and I won't even pick out one podcast because it's over many podcasts on here, as well as there's a stigma against the wrap shops that are running it out of the garage and they're charging way too less. If you're not charging enough, that causes an issue for the industry. But if you look at the stories of not all, but a majority of rappers and how they got started, it was in the garage.
Right.
So where do you think that that snowballs from, to where you can start charging accordingly out of the garage to get into something bigger like a shop and start charging that? Because if I was somebody who wanted a wrap and a guy offered me a wrap for $1,200 out of the garage, $1,300 out of the garage, I don't think I would do it. just because I'm leaving it at someone's house. But if it's that cheap, usually you get what you pay for, right?
100%.
How can somebody without a shop that can't charge what a big shop does because they don't have a shop? A lot of times appearance is everything too. I'm going to be more comfortable leaving my car at someone's shop than their house.
Right.
So I would pay more for that. But what I've been curious about listening to all the podcasts is we need an answer for that. But you almost have to start with, well, what should they do? Because I don't think that if I was wrapping out of my house, I could charge, $3-4 grand for a wrap. I think I'd be a little bit. I think people would look at me like a dick if I did that.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. We all started somewhere, and I think now, I mean, even when I was cutting vinyl at my place and installing outside in my parking lot, it
professional.
Yeah, you know what I mean. I had a schedule around a rainy day, a windy day, whatever the case may have been.
You've been rapping for 14 years. You said 14 years?
Well, I've been rapping for probably since 2012-ish, but I was vehicle lettering and graphics since 2000. I worked for someone back in 2003, and then I started my business. They ended up closing, and then I started my business out of my house in 2005. But I've been.
So that's a natural transition to get into raps from that, right?
It absolutely is 100%. Because honestly, if you're in the industry and you're lettering, you got to kind of go with the times. If the rap things,
you're gonna do lettering and then you're gonna do a perf,
right?
Or you're gonna be like, okay, well now I got to wrap a window, now I got to wrap a door,
right?
Wrap a car.
I'll be honest with you. My first rap was not even my own job. I ended up wrapping a car for another sign shop. I told him I could do it. I was confident enough that I could do it. I swear to God, I'm not kidding you. I'll never forget it. It was a Honda Odyssey van, full wrap, full bumpers for everything. I never wrapped a car in my life, but I convinced them that I could.
It's just funny because it's like you're instilling the confidence. I can do this.
Yeah, I was cocky as hell. Cocky as hell. I'm like, shit. He's printing it, and if I need anything, he can reprint it, whatever the case may be. But I didn't mess up a panel. It actually came out really good. I'm not trying to pull my chain a little bit, but for someone that never wrapped, I cleared a bumper really well. No seams. The back bumper, put a small seam in it. And the sides with perf, windows, everything. Not one bad spot that I couldn't get myself into. I mean, it probably wasn't 100%, but comparable to what was out there at the time, it wasn't that bad. I gave myself props.
What do you think was better, your first or second rap?
I would obviously my second rap for sure because I learned my lesson. I mean,
don't know.
It took me.
I tried rapping a couple times, and I think the first time I tried rapping, I was better than the second time.
You're so focused.
I thought I knew more about it now, so I end up wrinkling nonstop and doing all this stuff. I mean, truth be told, I'm a terrible rapper, so that's why I don't rap. But sometimes that first one, I think that you tend to put a little bit of heart into to prove a point,
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree with you. And like I said, I came up, I had big balls. I basically sold him on that I could put this on, and he trusted me, and I could not deliver that. You know what I mean? I was shitting my pants the whole time. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I could do a full van in one day. That thing took me like 2 12-hour days. You know what I mean? But I got it done, but whatever. But going back on that scenario about working out of your garage, I totally agree with you. It's just this, like I was saying, like the stigma of back then where you could kind of work out of your garage then and it was kind of still new and the raps were still starting to come out. They weren't as popular as they are now. Right. There's so many more things you can do now than you could do back then. I just feel like people can get ahead. People can get ahead further now than they could back then. So if you to like work out of your garage, I mean, you could be just doing it on the side, making a little extra cash, no harm, no foul. But when you got like legit guys that like have like 2 or 3 guys working for them and they're running out of this garage, I think it's more or less not the people who are starting, but the people that are just stagnant in that one place, have a couple guys working for them, and they just want to be that cheaper guy just to get that job. I think maybe that's where it stems from mostly. I don't think it's the startup guys, because I don't think no one's going to shit on the startup guy. You know what I mean? We've all been there. It's just the guys that have been doing it for 3-4 years and they're just like stuck where they are and never want to succeed further or make that big jump and pay your rent. And
yeah, 3 or 4 years is a long time.
Yeah, you shouldn't.
$1,200 wraps.
Right. Right. I think that's
you got a lot of lost income there, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
Paying for stuff out of pocket nonstop.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like, and I'm not going to talk for everybody, but I feel like that conversation has been talked about off and on. But I think it just relates more to the guys that just don't want to continue to better themselves. You know what I mean? I don't think it's a financial thing, because if you're wrapping cars, 2-3 cars a week or whatnot, I mean, that's pretty good money, at least around here. 3-4 grand a car. You're making $8 grand for the week.
If you're a 1-2-man show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're making a killer. There's no reason why you can't stash a little bit of cash, all right, and save up and go and buy your shop. Be more successful. Have a sign out in your shop. You know, that was the biggest thing for me. I hated that I had to be mobile. That was my big thing. I hated it more than anything. I hated getting in my car and driving to a location to go do a job. I wanted people to come to me. And that was the biggest thing. And you know it, for opening up your shop. You know, you go from like emailing or talking on the phone or meeting somebody at Starbucks for a meeting. It's like, nah, come down to my office. Let's sit down. It's your own environment. It's your place. You know, you got your music playing, whatever. You got your printers going. It's just, I always loved the environment of people walking into my shop, watching my printer print, somebody laminating, somebody installing, and them getting the whole
presentation.
Yes. 100%. I love that. Like, this is my shop. Look at it. You know what I mean? Take it all in.
Yeah, back when I was working at the wrap shop, doing sales and everything, that would sell the wrap.
Yeah.
Because the customer would come in, they didn't know what they wanted. You got to sell them what's right, not what's the sale.
Right.
Of course. What's the best option for them, particularly? What's a color that's going to look correct? You know, what's a design that's going to be the best option for them? But it was almost like they come in knowing that they have an idea to do a wrap. But once you take them and show them the process, I always take a client around the shop to give them a tour. I think sometimes the installers went nuts because I was just taking them back there. But the second they saw that there was a real process involved, that there's people that take it seriously and there's technique behind it, and they could see that work in person being done, and the care, the cleanliness, all that sold the job.
Yeah.
And they walk out like, my customers will walk out educated. They know what a wrap is. I think when you first get started, you can oversell easy, obviously, but really kind of honing in and giving them the answers that they're going to use for a long time. You put them out there and they're like, man, like, I need to get this thing wrapped.
Right.
Next time they go out to dinner with their friends, like, you guys need to wrap your cars. Have you seen how this works? It's freaking awesome. You know, and that's where you start getting the, not only, you know, that, but you get the respect for the trade too,
right,
from the public.
Yeah. It's not just a big sticker like everybody says. It's almost like nails on a chalkboard.
It kind of is, though. It kind of is a big sticker.
It is.
You just can't put a big sticker on a 3D surface very easily.
Right. Right, exactly. And them seeing the struggle or seeing an installer actually wrapping, they know that it's more than just a sticker. It's a presentation, and you're selling them an education on what you're selling them is huge. It's not just like, hey, I need a wrap. It's this, that, and the other thing. You just give them a quote and be done with it. Like, nobody even writes what type of material it is in their quotes or nothing. It's just like, yep, this is what you get, and that's it. And I think when people see, it's like you lay it down, IJ 180, you know, CV3, air release, blah, 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 blah. And you say, gloss laminate, and you educate them on the process. I think you sell them better educating them on the product that they're actually getting as opposed to just giving them a random number.
Yeah. And I don't know if that information is not put on a lot of quotes out of like, I don't want them to go somewhere else and get a better quote.
I always ask because people, you know how it is. You used to be a sales guy. Well, where did you get your quote from? Give me the quote and I'll try to beat it. But I'm going to compare apples to apples. I'm not comparing apples to oranges. You know what I mean? So when you get a quote of like Avery, it's like, okay, well, you're cutting in 50 cents a square foot, so be it. Okay, I'll use Avery. I can compare. But, when you're using 3M as opposed to Avery for an install, you can't, they're not on the same playing field price-wise.
Am I quoting or a calendared Orifol, or am I using like a 3M silver metallic to print on?
Right.
There's a big difference in a calendared and like a metallic film, and if it doesn't say it on there, then you could easily look like you are just charging like crazy, but in reality you're not.
Right. And I think that's the hardest part. I mean, that was a big thing for me. I would break down the material so they knew, because, a lot of the jobs that I would quote would be fleet stuff, and the fleet stuff, they always want to know what type of material you're using, So that was huge education, not only for yourself in the process and what type of material, but to help the client feel comfortable in what they're purchasing. That's huge.
And honestly, that education going to the client, if they are shopping around for the price, they'll start asking other questions when they get prices too to other shops. Because if they get a wild price and then the customer hits back the wrap shop and says, well, is this a cast film? And they're going to go, oh, wow.
They're going to get stumped. Someone's done their homework.
Yeah. So I think this educating a little bit on the customer end too, even into that side, I think it's so good. I will tell you that when I was at a wrap shop, I had a very closed mind as far as like, I knew that we were an awesome shop. And so I was like quick to like know that when it comes to other shops, like, right. Oh, you're going to go to that shop? Well, we are this shop, and it wasn't until I left that I was like, yeah, I don't know why I thought like that in the first place, but it's better to have a relationship with shops. It can't always be done because some guys are just cutthroat,
right?
But if you can establish a relationship with like a local competition, then you can make it a lot easier on yourself. There's other designers out there. You're a wrap designer, for instance. There's other really talented designers, and if you showed me something that they did, and you're like, I want something exactly like this, and it is not something that I would normally do, I'm going to say, look, this was done by Alexander Yusupov, and here's his contact info. If you still want to use us, that's fine, but you might be better off going to the source for this one.
Right.
And in return, a lot of times you see the same thing come back at you. That's just my experience. Like I said, different markets, it might be more cutthroat. But usually, like I found that if I show a level of respect to each and every competition, shop, anything like that, it is so much more rewarding to fight competition with positivity than it is negativity.
Absolutely. Yeah, I had a great relationship with a local guy, probably, I don't know, maybe 10 miles from me, give or take. Big wrap company now, Wrap Solutions out of Woburn, Mass. I worked for him.
What was that?
Woburn.
Woburn? I've never heard of that.
Woburn. It's my Boston accent. Woburn. Woburn. Woburn.
I like it.
Oh, man. I get people all the time. They're like, dude, I love your accent. And it's like, oh, it's normal to me. Every time I go somewhere on vacation, they're like, yeah, you're from Boston. Yep. I get it all the
I
time.
used to have a South Jersey accent all the way.
Holy
and then I moved
shit.
to Florida for 18 years now, and I'm pretty sure that when I go home to Jersey, everybody tells me I sound like a redneck.
That's
I'm like,
so
that's awesome, because I've never been on a farm in my life.
That's so funny. You grew up in Jersey then?
I grew up in Jersey. I moved to Florida when I was 13, and so my high school life and all that was all here in Florida. So it's almost like I feel like I'm from Florida in some ways, but I think when I think of like home, I still like, obviously I just called it home a second ago. When I think of home, I still think of New Jersey.
Nice.
That's where the majority of my family is up north, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York areas. So I call that home still.
Yeah, it's a different life up here, you know it, with the weather. And we just had like 2 inches of snow up here this morning. What a nightmare. I bet you don't miss that.
No.
No.
I moved to back to New Jersey in 2011 when I was kind of having a what the hell am I doing with my life crisis. And I moved up there, and I had a little Pontiac convertible at the time, a Solstice.
Yeah.
And the day after I moved there was so much snow and ice that I couldn't open my door. And it was just like it was just covered in ice, my whole car. And I was like, oh, I forgot about this part. And yeah, driving in the snow is scary. You don't know half the time if it's bad, you can't see. And I don't miss that, no. But at the same time, it's still like pretty cold here right now. So like yesterday it was like 75 here.
Oh,
so that's pretty freezing, right? But no, today it was 37 this morning, and then it rose up to it's like 40, 43 or something like that right now. So I mean, it's still chilly, man. Like I had to put long sleeves on. I still have my shorts on, but I had to put long sleeves on.
What type of shorts? Dickie long shorts or regular shorts?
I think if you're in the rap industry, you wear Dickies.
Yeah, you got to wear the Dickies, man. I mean, that's just the name of the game right there.
I am very standard. I wear a blank hat with a black shirt and Dickies. That is my character outfit.
Now, you don't wear the tall socks, do you?
No.
No.
Uh-huh.
I was a tall socks guy.
I wasn't. I was, and then I stopped wearing Jinko jeans, and I lost the socks, man.
Oh, man.
I used to be all about those big parachute pants back in the early 2000s. So
I think that's a designer. I think that's a designer thing, to be quite honest with you. Because I used to wear those all the time, and I knew a kid that used to draw unbelievable portraits, freehand.
Well, a lot of times, I don't know about you, but when I was in high school, sometimes I'd dress normal, sometimes I'd dress weird. I would wear this is how weird I was. I would twist my hair into spikes. I'd wear a barbed wire necklace, parachute pants. I'd have my earrings in, and I would be wearing a Tommy Hilfiger polo. So
wow.
It was like, dude, you're confused. Like, what are you doing? But I think that what you'll find is a lot of the guys that go into design or something creative or something like that, it starts out with personal expression.
I agree.
So I think that's part of what it is.
That's so
I think
funny.
for me it was like that, and then it was like I want to build my car. That's my personal expression. Oh man.
Yeah, you had to get rid of those Jankos though to drive. Those things get caught.
Yeah, you can't shift with those things.
Yeah, get caught underneath the accelerator or something by accident. Oh my god! And if nobody knows what Jankos, they're bell bottom pants almost.
Yeah,
huge.
It's literally about 4 inches larger in diameter than your shoe.
Yeah.
So when you walk, it just perfectly covers your entire foot and leg, and it just looks like you're some kind of alien.
Yeah, like floating or some shit.
Jenko's back. You know that, right? Like, they actually relaunched Jenko last year.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, JenkoJeans.com or Jenko.com or something like that. You can go on and buy brand new Jenkos now.
I don't think I could go back. Honestly, I got my Levi's. I'm good. You know what I mean? I upgraded.
Some of their shorts are good. Some of their shorts are actually pretty sweet.
All right, maybe. Okay, you've sold me on that. Maybe I'll go look at them.
They got some Dickie style shorts.
There you go.
They haven't run for the money yet.
Oh my god, that is so funny.
Yeah, were you into cars when you were younger? You got into this?
Absolutely, yeah. I had a little hooked up Honda Accord 2-door, slammed to the ground. Honestly, like you couldn't even put a deck of cards underneath it on the flat. Huge 18-inch rims, painted my interior as if, like everyone did. Take my whole interior apart, painted red, did all the inserts in white. Man, I look back
I
at
guess
shit.
you're late 20s, early 30s.
Yeah, well, no. I am, yeah. I'm 34. Yeah. And then
we come from the same automotive time.
Absolutely. Hooked up cars, absolutely. I didn't do much, and my biggest thing was just trying to get into a car club, trying to fit in, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah. My car club was literally like what I strived for. In like high school, I looked up to a car club a lot, and I joined one and just like getting started, and then it was like I want to be engine soaking so bad, and it was like I was building the car to meet those requirements to join.
Oh my god!
Just so I could park with them on how to import night.
Oh shit, that's so fun. They're like, wait a minute, you got to get rims first. Okay, so you go out like 3 weeks later because you save all your money that you worked so hard for to buy rims, or you get them used, and they're like, okay, you got to get a stereo. You got to at least have a stereo.
Yeah.
You go out, buy a stereo. You're like, damn, okay, a couple grand in. It's like, it's almost like they like drag you through the mud just to get your car hooked up. Just to get that goddamn window sticker. You know what I mean?
And in my Eclipse, I think when I wanted to get in, it was like you need 3 things. You need a custom stereo, you need a custom seat, and suspension or something like that, or wheels that, are a name brand. Fitment wasn't even a thing. It was just like, what's the name of that wheel? That's a good wheel, man. But I took it as, okay, go get racing seats. I was 16. I didn't know that there was like a priority on brand. So I found a brand of seat called Driver FX for $300. Put them in the car. I put a subwoofer facing up with a piece of plexiglass on top that I spray painted. And I was like, yo, can I be in? And they're like, what the hell did you do to your car? And because I had like these crappy, like fake leather seats, and they were like, you should be getting like Sparco ride, something like that, and a real stereo. So we did it. I always did everything myself when it came to fixing out my cars.
That was the way, though. That was the way.
A lot of driveway life, yeah.
Yeah. Damn. Yeah, I upgraded mine into I got rid of the Honda. I bought myself a 3000 GT.
VR4?
VR4, yes.
Oh, man.
That car was sick, dude. Driving that to high school, I got so many stares from people. They're like, how can you afford that? 16, 17 years old. Sick. Yeah, get those stares. Like,
they're still good-looking cars. I think they're holding value now, too. If they're in good shape.
Absolutely, dude. Mine was like mint green, and I had to do the half winks. No, it didn't have. Did it have flip up? I think it did have my flip up lights in the front. I would have.
There was the first and second, and they had one that didn't and one that did.
Yeah, I had the one that did, and I put them up halfway because that was a cool thing to do because it had the little clear like blinker on the front. That was a shit. I love.
I see what you're up to over there.
I love
looking
that
like an RX-7.
Oh, geez, RX-7. My buddy had one. Made me shit my pants taking me for a ride in that thing.
Yeah, it was a scary car. And like the way it just winds up so loud and high pitched.
Yes.
It's probably the coolest thing. Until they break it, but they're cool cars.
Yeah. Yeah, my buddy knew how to drive. Real he drove that thing just insane.
Crazy how that car's lasted over the years as like, one of the ultimate, like just like the Supra.
Just like the Supras.
That's the ultimate car.
Yeah. Ironically enough, my two buddies, one bought a Supra and the other one bought an RX-7. Anytime they drive together, they'd be one behind the other. Just, it's so funny. Like once you see one, you're like looking around, you're like, okay, where's the Supra? Where's the RX-7? They were always together.
What's the quote from the first Fast and Furious? Oh shit, here they come.
Yeah.
It's that crew rolling in.
Oh, man. What was the car that you wanted that when you were growing up, you're like, damn, I want that car when I grow up? You know what I mean?
Z3M Coupe.
Z3M Coupe, which you had. You sold it recently, right?
Got it. Yep.
Damn,
I
that
got
must have
it.
been a hot sell.
I got it. Got hit twice in 1 year. So I drove it for 6 months, and it was in the shop for 6 months, and got offered what I paid for it after 2 accidents. And I know that it's as much as it's a collector's car enough in value, when you get hit twice, it kind of ruins it. So I saw the opportunity, and he got a great car. The car was amazing. It was not like both of us put that together with all OEM parts, and it was just perfect. So he got a crazy deal on a great car. I got out of the car, I think, at the right time, and I got to say that I had that car. I just love those things. I like weird cars. I have weird taste in cars. One of my all-time favorite cars is the 3rd generation Eclipse, and people hate that car.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Hate it.
But don't get me wrong, I like the Eagles. The Eagle, what was it?
The Talons?
The Talons, yeah. Those things
screwed. The Talon does look better than the Eclipse.
93, 92, 93, the turbo.
Oh.
Dude, those things would suck you in the seat real fast.
Yeah. All-wheel drive.
All-wheel drive, exactly. They had a lot of great ones here. They have a place called New England Dragway up in New Hampshire. Up here where people would just go on drag race, and those things would be pulling, 10 seconds, 9 seconds easy with a couple little mods. Just incredible. All, daily drivers too,
That's ridiculous. They're probably not daily drivers anymore, though.
No. Those things have held up in value too. Man, when I was growing up, I wanted an IROC. That was my car.
Really?
Yeah. I'd always see one driving around in my neighborhood, and I'm like, damn, that's a hot car. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I love old cars.
Camaro's always had that. Well, I guess not the IROC, but the generation after. I don't know if that would be like what fifth. I don't know the generations of Camaro, but they were like a wedge in like the late '90s, early 2000s. It was like that wedge shape.
Yep.
I always thought that was cool. And then I saw a kit car. There where someone had taken a V6 Camaro and turned it into a Dodge Viper.
Come on.
And that was a little bit much. It's so weird when you see a kit car because, like, from the front and back and, like, at some angles, it looks just like what it's supposed to be. And then you look at the shape of the window.
You're like, damn. What happened?
You almost had me.
Yeah.
That's a Corolla.
Yeah. Oh, shit. That's so funny. Oh, man.
I think the best one was I saw a neon converted into an Aventador.
Yes.
And it still had the neon interior. but like not like the newer neons. It was like an old neon, like first-gen neon.
They spent all their money on the exterior. I forgot about they had to pay for the interior to make it look right.
Yeah.
Tinted windows.
That will Plymouth neon.
That will fix that problem, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
but moving back to the wraps, sorry, I tend to get off track.
Nah, dude, it's all good. Like I said, this is what it's all about, man. Just talking cars and industry stuff, and at the end of the day, this all kind of the car thing, hits home with everybody, and I love hearing people like growing up with cars or wrenching on cars, and then all of a sudden, they're wrapping cars, and that's like the new thing for them, and that's kind of like we're all kind of cut from the same cloth, or the DNA kind of intertwines. Is it all stems with the cars,
Yeah, definitely. It's a true privilege to come in and create custom cars every day and get paid to do it. That's pretty epic for us.
Yeah, definitely. Talk to me a little bit about your background in design. Like, how did you get into the industry? As far as like designing, because you weren't doing a lot of Photoshop rendering stuff like early in your childhood, right?
No, I learned how to do Photoshop while I was working on the website at my old job, and resizing like logos and cropping images as needed, and cycling through a few designers or having to open something up to fix a file on the fly. I learned, some of the do's and don'ts, I guess, on the wrap design side. And it was really just being in a shop environment and going through a few designers that I had to figure out what I was trying to fix.
Yeah.
Or if I was trying to make a quick update. If it's like, just changing the spelling of a phone number and it's approved, and you have to wait for it to go through like the design department for a couple of days. Sometimes I just wanted to freaking change that number and I can get it updated. So I had to like learn, I guess, that way, and just seeing what the installers at the shop would go through if something was, hitting wrong or a curve wasn't considered, and bleed and all that. And I just saw the installer side more than the design side for a long time. And then going into those files, and learning how to set up a wrap from, Josh Prater, an installer that was one of the first rappers I ever met. He showed me, the box that was going to be a print file versus the car. And, just learning that and seeing the end product come off the printer and go onto the car, it just kind of clicked. That part made sense to me from the beginning. And then when I actually went to go design something for a vehicle, which the first one was my own, I wanted the R2D2 Fiat. And it was really just like I kept messing with the program until it looked good. I've tried to Photoshop back in the day, back in '07, trying to make a render of what my Solstice would look like when I put the sky front end on it. And I did so bad, I would ask my photographer friends, can you do this? And they're like, no, I don't know how to do that. I just had to edit a photo. And but it wasn't until I was in the wrap shop that I really played with it and I made it work. And honestly, even when I jumped off on my own, I wasn't that avid. I just knew the basic stuff.
Right.
And I think that it was more just figuring out what worked when I jumped out on my own, as far as for me process wise, and what legs I can stretch, without overextending myself. And once a couple of projects were kind of offered to me as far as can you design this for me? That's when I had to get good fast. And I really just, ever since I started, I've just tried to do a better job on each wrap as I go, and not lose that originality, of trying to learn new things. So every single day there's something that one of us will show each other and be like, I didn't know you could do that. It'll be something silly like a shortcut or a button that you can press. But that literally saves you, 25 minutes.
Yep.
But no, I was never crazy into Photoshop and all that. I did draw a bit when I was young, and I've always kind of created things, not necessarily in design, but I think of building a car as a total art. And back in the day, we were taking cars apart and taking lights off these cars, putting them on that car, and customizing them to make a look that we wanted. And it was really kind of translating that into a program to create a custom car, and how can I trick the eye here and make it look cool. So if you can manipulate it enough to where you think it looks cool, then maybe other people will too.
Right.
But yeah, I would say I've actively been hardcore designing for 3.5 years, maybe. And before that, maybe add on 2 or 3 more, just dabbling, opening the program, adjusting something, closing it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it really just is something that as I got into it, I realized that it's really a passionate thing that I love to do. Many times my best work will be me here by myself at 3 o'clock in the morning, just music blasting, and I've been focusing on like a fender for 2.5 hours, trying to make it look legit. And I'm just trying to make it look cool so I can put a smile on my face and hope the customer smiles too. But yeah, it hasn't been a crazy long time. Just more or less, just I know how to set up the wraps correctly, and I know it looks good.
That's awesome. Yeah, because a lot of people in the industry, or design-wise, regular graphic designers, they've been messing with Photoshop for years. I know I remember seeing the first Photoshop in high school, having a class and dabbling with that, making business cards and things like that, and Illustrator. And then even getting, the knowledge, going to college and getting my associate's degree in visual communications, even that was a tough thing to do, just trying to get a degree to, solidify that I can actually work with the program. And I still learn to this day, all the new shortcuts, and, they're continuously updating Illustrator and Photoshop. So it's always something new, or a new way of, one click to clean up, one click to clean up some type of, mishap that you had or whatnot, as opposed to, 2 or 3 clicks, you know what I mean, to fix it. I mean, they're making things so much easier now for the graphic designer that it's just easier for us. And we just have to learn it as a learning curve. So big props to you for learning this program so quickly. I mean, I think that's huge, learning this program so quickly. And you're killing it.
I think honestly, a lot of it is a motivation that wasn't there in the past. Working for someone for your whole life, your whole working life at least, you get used to a certain what's the wiggle room as far as like you and your job.
Yeah.
I think that it wasn't until I just took a gamble on myself that I realized that I had to work as hard as possible and do the best I possibly could on everything to survive, that I really started to really push it. And I did a Mustang for 13.3 Motorsports, and that was like a rust wrap, and it was one of those things where I had no idea how to do it. It was the very first one I ever did. Looking back at it now, I'm like, whoa, I've changed a lot. Because I look at that and I'm like, I could have done, if I did that car today, it would look completely different. But at the same time, there's things about it that I did then on that car that I would be afraid that I wouldn't have thought of today, because you evolve and you change your process. And so it's always good, like for me at least, to like look back at that and say, like, okay, well, what was I thinking when I did that? And keep that consistency, but keep pushing the realism on that stuff.
Yeah.
But
absolutely.
when that car hit the street and hit the internet and everything, it just went out of control. And the General Lee and Martini GT3 RS that we did with Rap Zone and Bumblebee and everything, those all were huge for us. But those were about 6-7 months after that Mustang. That Mustang, it broke the internet. It became a Magnaflow sports car. Got invited to SEMA within like a month of being out. And it was just all of a sudden, it was just everywhere. And I started getting bombarded with emails and inquiries wanting rust wrap for this car or that car. And it was like I saw it open up, and I didn't want to say I'm terrible. I barely figured that one out. And, I hope I could do better for you. But it was more like, we're getting started. This is going to be the price. It might be a little bit longer, than a normal process, but we're going to work with you to get it done. And suffice to say that they all came out great so far. But it was more just as soon as that car came out, I just pushed myself as hard as possible to beat that, to get to the next level of quality, cleanliness, and looking at that and seeing like a hard line edge on something or something, and just like little stuff that you see a lot in rap design.
Yeah.
But since I already knew the industry side, it was more learning how to take my point of view on how I looked at rap design and applying that. Because I learned also that when you're designing a rap, you're thinking about the design and everything, and you have to still consider the rap side too.
Right.
Whereas when I was in the rap shop, I was thinking, the rap side the whole time, not so much the design side. And then flip that over, I started focusing on design, and I had to still consider that rap side too, as far as like the do's and don'ts, the behind handles and over creases and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's just one of those progressions, I guess, just trying to make something better than it was yesterday. but still hold that heart, you know?
Yeah, you're definitely killing it for sure. I mean, your
Thanks, man.
designs, it's the little things because I know from being an installer, and being a designer at the same time, it's tough for those things to go hand in hand sometimes. When you're designing a bumper to kind of mesh with the fender, and then you gotta mess with it matching the hood. I mean, that shit don't come easy. That's a lot of work. It's a lot of time, a lot of figuring. How much time are you putting into actually going out and measuring cars and making sure your templates are good? You know what I mean?
I don't. I've only seen a hand selected few in person.
Really?
I have maybe 2 or 3 clients locally. Very, very rare does someone come into the studio. Usually if someone comes to the studio, it's actually somebody visiting, not a customer.
Mm-hmm.
Like CJ from Fine Line Wraps and Tint, New Jersey. He came and we actually did an install here at the studio in the shop side. And we featured him as an installer for a GTR that we did. And we just made it something more special since it's not a wrap shop. So we just made it more like, we're featuring this installer, do this design on this car. But I had a client that visited from Kuwait one time, which was really cool. And I'm so glad that we had the studio because this goes back to what we were talking about earlier. When I was working out of my house, just me, if a client did want to meet me or if somebody happened to pass through Jacksonville, I was like, well, I don't want you to come to my apartment, man. Like, no offense. I don't, meet me at Starbucks, but it is definitely nice to say, come on by the studio, check it out.
Yeah.
And it's really nice to have that.
Definitely. What type of programs are you using as far as like your templating and stuff? Like, what are you mostly using to design a lot of your custom graphics?
So we primarily use a modified bad wrap template for most of the American cars, as long as they're in the bad wrap catalog, which it kind of grows every day. But we do so many like abstract cars that are out of the norm that it's almost like 50-50 that's going to be in there. One in every 3 maybe is going to be on the bad wrap for us. But those templates are great. We end up modifying them every time just to kind of clean them up and give them a better look or put custom wheels on them, lower them. We end up doing that, but a lot of times we'll use CC Vision as well for templates. If we have to use the Evolution, have you heard of that? The Blueprints.com Evolution?
Yeah.
So those tend to be somewhat accurate. We had a really hard time finding a Ford GT. When we did a Weathers Golf Ford GT with Rapstone in Sweden, and that we scaled it, and they made everything fit. I don't know what kind of wizardry they do at Rapstone to make everything just work. But things were like too big in some areas and too small in some areas. Like it just really didn't scale right. And I don't know if it's just that one car, but I've always kind of had the wrap shops we work with double check a few things before I make print files.
Yeah.
And whenever we send print files, I put the size of the panel in the print file name, just so that, and I always say verify that panel size is larger than needed, because we include 3 inches of bleed standard on every single project. So as long as you have 6 inches extra than you need, or if it was wrong and there's only 2 inches there, like you'll still be safe because we set them up safe enough for it.
Right.
But we always have people double check that.
Yeah, that's got to be the hardest part.
We don't get to measure too many here. We do have like a instructional video that we'll send wrap shops if they're not familiar with templating, because templating is so important on a lot of these wraps.
Yep.
So taking the time to actually create a physical template and send it to us to vectorize and scale, that does wonders. Or if I have a vehicle I'm doing and I know they have them in America, I'll post on Facebook or something like, hey, does anybody have a Audi TT that can stop by and let me template it? I need your car for like an hour.
Right.
And I'll have them drop off the car for an hour while they go grab lunch with mine or something, and we'll template the whole car. And now we have a hard template for that car forever. Anytime we get that car now, we have it. And we have to do it a lot with the older vehicles. Usually if they're outside of 10 to 15 years, you're going to start getting harder and harder to find outlines for that car.
Right.
So we end up having to make custom ones. But even with the CC Vision templates, we don't really use just the template. We modify them all. We create every single one to be a bad rap style template. So they're set up exactly the same. It just helps us on consistency side when we open a project and they're all set up the same way. But I also just think that it looks better than. I think that some of these renders that you see, they're beautiful looking. When you have like the vector templates that are really nice looking.
Right.
But sometimes it can look. I'm not going to say cartoony, but I will say that I think sometimes it oversells what to expect.
Yeah, because you don't get the full view of it. You can't see those little hard shadows on a body line like the bad rap gives you. Because I use the ArtStation ones sometimes. That seems to be my go-to, and that's just
pretty accurate.
Those are pretty accurate. Within, I think it tells you it's within a half an inch. I haven't had any issues. Okay. Some templates are a little bit better than others, but me, I'm doing mostly commercial stuff. So once I'm spoiled. I'm able to see the vehicle prior to me templating it. So I'll go and I'll know what I'm looking for. Like, how deep is the recess on the Transit? How big is that panel, in the Transit? And then I'll just go back and modify it if I need to, which works out great. But they're pretty good. Once you have the template, like you said, you get another car. It's like, okay, yep, I got it down. No problem.
Exactly.
That's the best part,
And even though we can't see them, if I have any concerns up front, I'll get the information before I even touch a design, because I don't want to set up a panel and then have to redo that panel later on because it's gotta have a seam or something like that, or it's not accounted for. So usually I can look at something, and I've been around the industry long enough to see enough installs to know what to look out for, like the Porsche fenders, the way that they roll over to meet the hood, that kind of stuff, But I'll also ask the installer sometimes, what are your concerns? How you plan on wrapping this? Because a lot of people think that Skepple Inc. Does a lot more than we do. We don't print, we don't install. We don't provide materials. We don't do any of that. We are rapid back. That's it.
No, no plans in the future to get a printer or anything? Personal use, maybe?
No.
Nothing.
Mm-mm. I don't plan on growing a local business. Just Jacksonville's got kind of an odd market, and we already have the good rap shops. We already have the bad rap shops. The market's well established. People know where they're going. And I don't think that Jacksonville's market fits our style of demographic. It's definitely more of a commercial market.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of, exotics and stuff. I mean, they're in there, but they're all parked in the garage. You just don't see them. But they're not fixing them up. I mean, it's pretty different than, Trevor gets to see at Echelon Auto Sports, where they're just doing crazy cars nonstop. They just did a beautiful red chrome Bugatti over there that was just nuts. Went to Barrett Jackson.
Barrett Jackson, yeah, I did see that. That thing was really nice.
And yeah, I think it was gorgeous. But we just don't see that in Jacksonville. So I think it's better if I stay focused on what we are. And the idea behind the whole shebang is to be a remote design department for rap shops. So the few local stuff I have on the road is mostly through other local shops, not my direct customers.
Right.
All of our services are tailored for guys like you, the rapper. So we set it up. We have flat rate pricing, keep everything all inclusive. We don't charge anything for extra changes. And hey, man, sometimes it kicks you in the ass, but the ones that get approved on the first shot or second shot make up for it. But we keep flat rates so that way you don't have to go back to your customer and charge more. We we have it set up on like tier levels, like for fleets and stuff. So if we have to like do a remap, we'll have a flat rate for that. But everything's like laid out so that all you have to do is quote the client. You don't have to wait for me to respond to you at all. You just get the job done. You pop me an email with pictures of the car, run down what they want to do, any inspiration, and it goes right into production. We get the job done. Once approved, we provide a layout of how the panels are set up. Everything's set up to your printing widths, or if you're using like reprint wraps, Metro, something like that, where you're getting printed, we'll set it up for them because we know we've already set up plenty of wraps for Metro. We've set up plenty of wraps for reprint wraps, stuff that when you send it to the client, they have what they need to send out. So we'll provide the panel layout, everything laid out to the correct printing widths, color profiles, and all print files accurately labeled, and give everything that you need as if it was done in-house and just prepared for you.
That's awesome.
So to expand into printing and stuff, with more than half of our customer base being outside of the U.S., I don't have a need. I would probably end up just calling Chris at Metro and saying, "Hey, can you put this and send it out to the client?" It's just not it's not one of the expenses. We just took on our biggest expense by upgrading to the iMac Pro computers.
Yeah, I saw that. That's huge.
Probably the expense.
Yeah, but you know what?
Man.
That's money well spent. I mean, that's your money maker right there. Why not upgrade?
Yeah. You know what drives me nuts though is that I don't see, like, part of me feels like I wasted some money on these things because I think that some of the lag that we get is actually the Photoshop program.
It could be. Do you use the online Photoshop now?
I use the CC.
Yeah.
Well, we don't use the Creative Cloud. We just use the program.
Okay.
We have our own NAS that we use for all of our storage.
Yeah.
So we're not relying on that side too much, but it's more just like brush lag that we get more than anything.
I wish Apple would create like a creative pad. You know what I mean? Like instead of getting like what's that big? It's like the drawing template pad. Just sit there and draw on it. I forget the most popular one. Wix?
Like Wacom?
Yeah, Wacom. That's it. Wacom. A Wacom one. Yeah.
My last tablet was a Wacom. I actually use the Apple iPad Pro. All three of us do, actually. I find the pencil to be much more accurate.
Really?
And so the tablets that we regularly have hooked up it's funny that you mentioned iPad Pro. We use a program called AstroPad.
Okay.
And let me see if I can find the actual spec of it. So AstroPad, it hooks up via Wi-Fi or USB. AstroPad, and one second, I'll tell you. You didn't know they had the iPad Pro for this? You didn't know about this?
No, I didn't, to be honest with you. I don't use one. I just use my regular screen and mouse, old school. You know what I mean? Like I said, most of my stuff.
That's how I was for a while, but there's just some things you gotta draw. There's some things that you need to use your hands for.
No,
so
totally. I agree.
I agree
with
less than
you.
16 milliseconds latency.
Wow.
And it's full 120 hertz on the iPad Pro. So it's keeping up with your screen just fine. It's completely pressure sensitive with Illustrator and Photoshop. And they actually put the tools, just like you can create the shortcuts on the other tablets. They have it on screen, and you can customize the workspace or use presets and stuff.
That's awesome.
Even just a second ago, Donnie is working on a couple characters for an illustration, and he went back into our lounge area, and I was looking at his computer, and I see his computer still going off, but he's back there sitting on the couch drawing, and so it gives you that freedom too, because there's that no latency kind of thing. There's that no lag.
Yeah.
So you're still able to use the whole computer if you have to, and you can do it somewhere else, which is great too.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it's worked out better for me than the Wacom did, surprisingly. And That's really all I use it for, though. I don't use it for anything else. And they have some cool applications, like Adobe makes an app called Illustrator Draw, where it's literally a drawing pad, and then you hit send to Illustrator, and it opens it up in Illustrator on your computer in Inspector.
That's insane.
Which is really nice.
See, I'm still stuck on my old school. See, I'm talking about going with the times, and I'm still over here with my wireless mouse with my 27-inch monitor, you know. Oh, shit.
I'm the same thing. I just have a tablet, too.
Yeah.
Do you use Mac?
I do. Yeah, I got a Mac.
I think the Magic Mouse is like one of my main reasons for loving it.
You love the Magic Mouse?
Just because I feel like in a lot of these illustration programs, you scroll around the screen a lot.
Yeah.
Like when I build a weathered graph, I zoom out and I look at the whole card, but if I'm building like part of it, I build it at 200 zoom, 200%.
Yeah.
So I need to move around the whole thing, whereas like most mouses you go up and down, and then you got to use a slider or like a move tool to move around the document.
Yeah.
Whereas the Magic Mouse lets you just kind of go, wherever you want.
Back and forth.
So it's just easy to go that way.
That's awesome.
Man, am I rambling about a mouse right now? My bad.
Nah, dude, it's all good. You know what I mean? These are tips and tricks, man. We're talking about stuff. Anybody design wise is gonna look at this and be like, damn, I'm already in awe. I'm learning something new right now.
I'll tell you something I learned from another designer. I heard you talk about it a little bit in some of your other podcasts. You had asked about getting things to be seamless.
Right.
It was explained to me by a really talented artist, Alexander Yusupov. Whenever I was starting to have to get into the seamless side, he told me to think of it like one of those old cardboard cars that you had to fold up.
Yep.
One of those things, it came as like one full thing, piece of paper or cardboard, and you had to fold it up.
Yep.
And make a car. That's essentially the idea, is just kind of combining your templates into a fold-up car.
That's insane. And that's all customized through you. Like you're creating that.
Yeah. We have to make it all from scratch every time. Yeah.
That's insane. That's all. See, that's what separates you from the other people. Like I would think that would be the process, but for me to actually sit there and like figure that out, I mean, you'd be talking maybe hours and just getting that done. Never mind getting the design started.
And it's trial and error. It's not always perfect.
Right.
You want it to be. And I was talking to Neil from ND Vinyls about this last night. You'd rather be purposefully not matching than not matching because you couldn't do it.
Right.
So like if you try to make it seamless and it doesn't align correctly, then it looks like you can't do it. If you're worried about something, don't make it seamless.
Yeah. Even going back to that Porsche that you had wrapped with I think it was the Martin design on it, the weathered.
The Martini one?
Yeah, dude. Like, you had part of the lettering up on the two fenders. I'm like, damn, how the fuck did he line that up? Like, even in the design, never mind installing it. That's a whole nother issue. Like, trying to line that up.
I don't know. Like I said, they're wizards at wraps on. I don't understand it. Andreas is like, he's so confusing. I told him he's frustrating before too. Because there was one where it was like a rush job. So
yeah.
It was like a brushed kind of metal grungy look, and it was for Hexus Sweden. It was like one of their booth cars, and it was for an event. So I'm finishing the files and uploading them to the server, and by the time I finished the next panel, the panel that I just finished making was on the car, and I was like, "What? I don't understand what's happening." Because I would save the front bumper, and then I'd go and I make the rear bumper, and I'd go to send them the rear bumper file, and the front bumper would already be finished on the car wrap. I'd be like, "Dude,
what?
Like, how do you do this so fast?" So like they're so efficient, and he's got it so optimized there that they're putting a team onto the cars, and looking over each other's work, the whole time, and they're able to knock out cars like custom wraps like very fast, and good, like the best there is, and it's just a different kind of efficiency, I guess.
That's insane.
But yeah, it was pretty wild.
That almost goes back to when you were part of that world fastest rap thing. Yeah, I'm going back old school. You're laughing.
When I was at 201.
Yeah.
You're talking about
you're laughing, but you were part of that. Don't lie. I seen pictures.
No, I was not. Everyone got into town, and I was so excited to meet all the Painted Dead guys in person for the first time. And truth be told, I don't know what the hell I ate, but I had to go home. So I was there the second half of the second day.
Come on.
And, yeah, I was not there much at all. I felt so bad. And what's so shitty, man, is I got sick for that. So I got to like shake hands and apologize for being sick. Then I go to SEMA that same year. Again with 201 and the Painted Dead guys, and we got the house. A huge house everyone stayed in, and bro, we got there, and I don't know what I ate, but I was in the bedroom and restroom the whole week.
What's
I went
wrong?
to SEMA one day.
What do you got, a light stomach?
I don't know.
You can't eat.
I think I had I don't know, man. Maybe my body wasn't ready. I have no idea.
That is so funny. That's gotta.
It was like the worst freaking luck.
That's gotta suck.
Yeah. So when I finally went back after I was in Skepple and stuff, I got to experience SEMA and meet all my friends that I've been talking to for years. And yeah, it was terrible. I think I did like a speed run through SEMA the last day. 13 or 14, and I did a speed run with Dylan Kane from Australia and Derek Wheeler, he's a photographer for 201, and we were just doing like a speed run. I was just trying to see as much as possible. And you know what's crazy is I think I saw more doing that speed run than I did this past year going to SEMA every single day, because now it's just such a trade show. We're really doing rap stuff the whole time.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Wait, what were you about to say? You heard what?
No, I was gonna say, yeah, you can't really do SEMA. Like, you really got to go back day after day after day, and you still haven't seen anything. You know what I mean? I'm hoping.
Or like you'll walk right by a car, and then someone will show you a picture of it and be like, "Where the hell is that?"
Right.
Right in front of you. But I thought you were about to say something else. I thought you were about to tell a story that I didn't know about, and I was like, "Oh crap."
No. I don't have any dirt on you.
It's okay if you do. Can't change who I am. But
that's too funny. That sucks. That's the worst part is getting on a plane, going to a trip, you know what I mean, and getting psyched about it, and then just getting sick. That's got to be the worst.
It was terrible, and it wasn't even like I could fake it. Like I did try to go on the Thursday, but that ends early on Friday, and that's the day I did my speed run. I did try to go like half the day Thursday. And, man, I was there for maybe 25, 30 minutes, and it was like, I got to go home. I got to go home right now.
Right.
Like,
you're getting the sweats?
Like, yeah, I was pouring in sweat, yeah. It was the worst experience of my life.
Hey, if anybody's hearing this and anybody got sick during that, you know where you got it from.
You're welcome.
Yeah, right?
Matt Walensky.
Oh, shit. Unbelievable. All right, we're ranting about more stuff, but it's all good. This is what I love about the industry. It's just, I don't really know you other than Instagram, follow you, whatnot. You probably don't know me, other than Instagram.
I do. I actually loved, I was following your little previews in TWF of that, you did that Mustang, the Japanese one, right?
Japanese Mustang?
Didn't you just do a Japanese Mustang?
No, you're getting me confused with somebody else, brother.
That wasn't you?
No, man.
Aren't you Jeff?
Yeah. Japanese Mustang.
Yeah.
Do
you do work with 6-8 Creative?
Negative.
No?
Negative.
Okay. My bad, 6-8 Creative. I thought you were linked with them. I thought that was you.
Hey, it's all good. You can hit me up if you want.
Hey,
It's a good plug.
Design.
Thanks, Scott.
I thought it was pretty cool.
No,
So is your profile just the profile design?
Profile Design Studio. Yeah, I just started it up, and it's a lot of my older work that I've done for my old company. It's something new that
You had some cool ones on there, though, didn't you? You had
a lot of commercial
cool
stuff.
Pink one on there. You had a cool like couple cool partial wraps that kind of had that Antonelli touch on it.
Yeah, like the sunburst. The sunburst on a commercial wrap.
So I was following you as the correct designer, but I wasn't following you as the correct shop. I apologize.
Ah, that's what it was. It's all good. It's all good. But I love most
so
of
what shop are you? What's your shop?
It's just a studio, home studio. I'm doing it on the side, brother. Starting all over.
Okay.
Doing it from home, starting from scratch. You know, right now
What's
I have.
Are you all in on it or?
No, part time, real part time. You know, in between doing the podcast and in between doing the podcast and my regular full time job, I do that as well. You know, it's funny. It's most of the stuff I'm doing is for a friend of mine that bought out a lot of my clients from me when I closed down shop. That was one thing I felt bad about was, you know, I felt like I let down a lot of my clients at the end, but I had a really good friend getting into the industry, up and coming, and I basically gave him my client list and was like, listen, you need to take care of all these people. And if they need anything, and I know you can't design, just think of me and give me a couple bucks, you know what I mean, for the design work, and I'll give you the print ready files, and, you know, we'll keep it going. So it's been a couple years, and it's been great, you know, and it's something that I like and I enjoy doing. I think back when I was doing everything, basically wearing all the fucking hats, I lost track of what I really like to do, which was designing. I really like talking to people, getting really deep into what they want, and sitting down with the client next to me and creating something with them for an hour, you know? That was something that I missed, and that's something that I talked to a bunch of people about, and, you know, you can't be afraid to just focus on one thing. Once you start doing too many things fall to the wayside, quality sucks.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
When I started Skepple, I was offering wrap installation, wrap design, signs, banners, business cards. I mean, you name it, there was a distributor that I could use, like, you know, to get the business cards, or like Sign 365, which was a great resource when I was first getting started.
Yep.
And I could subcontract to, you know, a couple local installers I knew. And I learned quickly, like, what that cost. I learned where, you know, being a business owner, the additional expenses and everything that become involved.
Yeah.
And when I got into the design more and more and more, I phased it all out, because I realized that I can either stress about getting that done and the design looking correct, or we can focus on doing one thing as best as we possibly can and give it that full attention, and you just run with it.
Yeah.
As opposed to trying to make everything keep up with each other.
Well, it's more of a money filler at the end of the day. You're just filling in the gaps in between a personal job. It's like, oh, a business card? Sure, I can bang that out in 10 minutes. You know, give me $70. You know what I mean? It's just little fillers to make money. And I think everybody does that in any aspect in any industry. Is you're always looking for something else that could make you a quick buck. And being a designer.
But see, that's not us, though. I would spend less time right now doing a full commercial wrap than I would on a flyer.
Yeah.
It's just that's where my mind is. Joshua used to do a lot of flyers and business cards and stuff.
Yeah.
And whenever we do get that random curveball of business cards and flyers, he's been so hard into the wraps now that it's like it's a different mindset.
Right.
Graphic design studio, not graphic, you know.
Right.
But yeah, it's crazy because we still take on like the flyers. You know, if somebody asks us to do it, we'll say yes. But from a business perspective, you lose money.
Yep. I agree with
Whereas,
you.
like, if you're doing it and you can knock it out in 10 minutes, you made money. But if we do it and we spend, we charge for an hour and a half, and then we end up spending 2 hours because we're not used to doing flyers and we got to think of it, then we lost money that could have been on a wrap design, and 2 hours in a wrap design for us.
Yeah.
We make a lot of progress. That's banging out the template and probably a panel. That's all like our precious cargo right there.
Right. And the misconception of graphic designers being wrap designers, I mean, that's a whole nother conversation. I know I've had that conversation with a few people, and it's crazy. There's a difference. There is a difference. Just so everybody knows, and I'm clarifying that right now, there's a difference. Someone who makes flyers and brochures all fucking day, and then gets a job, that gets thrown on the desk. They're like, yeah, we need a vehicle wrap designed. You're not gonna get the best of the best from that type of person, because they have no idea, no clue on where to put graphics, where it works, where it doesn't work, body lines.
Yeah, and that's not knocking them at all.
No,
I still think they're doing the best that they can. But it's a different understanding of the whole thing. Like I think I rudely interrupted you. You're about to say, getting into the body lines and everything.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, it's the misconception of it. They think it's easier, and someone who knows body lines and knows placement and knows that there's a handle there. Don't stick words, in there to get caught. It's not good. You know what I mean? And I know I talk about that with Dan, and the misconception of the difference between a graphic designer and a wrap designer. It's two different mediums. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Like incomparable.
Yeah. Two different types. And I don't know who came up with the name, the graphic designer, but I think that should be a legit career path for people. If you want to make wraps, graphic design.
It is for me.
It is for you. Yeah, absolutely.
I will tell you that I love what we do. I think that's a huge thing too. Is even a graphic designer that ends up getting into the wraps and doing wrap design. If you're not into cars and you're just going there for the paycheck, I think it's still drastically different.
Yes.
Versus I'm stoked when I get to start on something, something new and different. And sometimes they stress me out because it might be something that I've never done before and I gotta kind of train myself. But I think that's what makes it like that excitement still. To give you an idea, last weekend I moved my computer setup out into the shop, and I worked in the shop the whole weekend. And the people that know me well know the hours I work are not healthy, and I'm changing it, I promise. But I clocked 141 hours last week. I added it up yesterday.
Oh my God!
141 hours in just the 1 week, and it's 100% design the whole time. But man, I was able to get so much work done just turning off things for a little bit, pumping up music in the shop as loud as possible, turning out the lights, and just drawing was the most amazing part. And I was like, man, like I'm over here like exhausted, but I wouldn't be doing anything else. This is what I was put on this earth to do, I guess.
Definitely. What type of music you pumping when you get into the zone? That's what I like
to
hear.
Man,
I like myself some Stone Temple Pilots playing as loud as can be. Man.
Really?
Yeah, dude. Wow. STP all the way, man.
I'm all over the place with music, man. I'm really big into early 2000s rock, so I guess that they would fit in there, late 90s, early 2000s. But I listen to Slipknot. I still listen to them, but then I'll go and I'll start listening to Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift, dude. This is I'm not editing that part. I am so not editing that part. You know that, right?
That's fine. I'm not ashamed of it. Actually, what I was listening to Saturday night that I got really into, I listened to the full Chumbawamba Tub Thumping album from beginning to end.
Holy
and it was amazing.
Shit.
I forgot that I liked them when I was younger. I think one of my all-time favorite bands is Tool.
Tool. I like Tool.
I could listen to Tool, and you know, like the reason why Tool doesn't stream is because they made their music to be listened to as a whole, not as a single. So you can't really just go listen to Tool. So you got to put on the album. You got to listen to their albums from beginning to end. And I think that creatively, like with them on, it's almost like it puts me in like a
Zen. Puts you in the zone.
It sounds like a creative trance. It sounds cheesy, but I think it's true, man. I get really out of my box whenever I have them on and blasting. Yeah. And there are those days when I blast some Taylor Swift, and I don't give a fuck. Like she's famous for a reason, man.
Oh my god!
But it's just like when I was growing up. My mom was in the automotive transport industry, so I've always been around cars. My grandfather owned a dealership. She was in transport. Moved to Florida, and I worked for my uncle, and he always had like cool cars. You know, the first car I ever drove, and maybe this is why it was a dream car. The first car I ever drove a stick shift on was a red Z3.
Wow.
Base. It was a base car, but it was like I was in a sports car for the first time.
Yeah.
And then when I saw that M Coupe, I was like, oh crap, that thing's sick. But yeah, he had like he had that, which I thought was the coolest thing. You know, now we're like, okay, it's a Z3, bro. But he had that, then he had a Prowler. Like he had all these cool cars, and I've actually like had like my version of every car he's had at this point, which is kind of weird. Just I don't know if he just got me into ugly cars or something, but I got a thing for ugly cars, man. I just sold my Isuzu V-Cross last week. Have you heard of that?
Isuzu? Oh, the like futuristic alien looking thing, right?
Yeah.
It was.
I had one of those for the greater part of last year, and it had the awesome tires on it. We wrapped it in
green, right?
Avery Midnight Matte Sand metallic, yeah. And I like ugly things, man. They just get me.
So funny. Yeah, driving that thing. Yeah, but that was like what? What year was that?
They were here from 99 to 2001, and I think around 2000 of them made it over here.
Wow.
So they're very limited. I had the Iron Man edition, which no one really cares about, but there's only like 71 of them. But at the end of the day, it was an old Isuzu, and I wanted something different. I'm in a little Audi now, and that'll probably change again this year.
There you go.
Wait, what were we talking about, man? We just went off.
We went off on a rant somewhere. I don't even know.
Holy shit!
I'm not even writing notes. I'm just letting you talk.
Oh.
This is awesome.
So Saturday night I was listening to Chumbawamba and a new band that I came across called Dark Rooms. Have you heard of them?
No.
I watched this movie while I was working this past weekend. It's called A Ghost Story. And it's a movie. Have you heard of it?
Negative.
It takes place from the point of view of a ghost, and it's just like a life story of a ghost.
Really?
It's pretty cool. But it had probably the coolest soundtrack I've ever heard, and they kept on spotlighting this one song, and it was like, "Rock it out." It just had like a cool like sound to it. So I looked them up, and I ended up listening to their albums like on repeat over and over, and I think they're my new favorite band, man. They have like a real like 90s sound.
Really?
Kind of like you ever hear of the band Bastille? They had a huge hit. Not all their songs are hits, but they had a hit that was like da 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 da.
Yes, I know what you're talking about.
So I've listened to their albums front to back more times than I'd appreciate to say, but they carry like a 90s vibe into like a modern vibe, and Dark Rooms kind of does that same thing where you're kind of mixing genres, and I like it a lot. I'm trying to get into hip hop.
I'm like an old school rock guy. I don't mind hip hop once in a while. A little gangsta rap. You know what I mean? A little Snoop, a little Dre.
I like old school rap for sure. Lil Jon,
Lil Jon.
like old school. I'll throw on some stuff like that. Busta Rhymes.
Busta
I
Rhymes.
like the older stuff. Biggie. I like all that stuff. But I feel like it's kind of lost me in the recent years. But I just listened to the Chance the Rapper album, and that's pretty freaking banging album. I like it a lot. But it's usually rock or some kind of like lo-fi hip hop beat music, not actually like no words or anything.
Right.
I think I got into more of the lo-fi sounds when I was living up north in 11. Right, and literally I came back. I was all right. Side rant. I moved to New Jersey in 2011, like January, because I had no idea what the hell I was doing. Like I was like, man, I'm like not happy in these jobs. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just gonna move home and live with my dad. I worked in his carpet store for 7-8 months. I didn't live there very long. I visited Florida for 1 week, and I came here. I always drove because I love my cars, so I drive the shit out of them.
Yeah.
And so I drove down here. I was here for 1 week, and every day I went out with my car friends. We were going on cruises, meets, like we were just nonstop cars. And I was like, oh yeah, the Florida car scene. I love it. Like I love this scene. Like it's. And I didn't have any friends up there, and the cars that I were seeing were beat up from snow, or they had like weird fitment and stuff, and it just wasn't the same. So I went back for 2 more weeks to New Jersey, and I was like, I got to go back. So I came back. I started looking at a car dealership. I was becoming a salesman I didn't want to be, and then Austin picked me up at 201 and introduced me to this beautiful industry called the rap industry, and it changed my life forever, man. I didn't know how much I was going to love it until I got into it, and once I got into it, I started learning about the vinyl. And it sounds weird for a non-installer to say like things like adhesive properties and things like that, but I came to know all that stuff. It's just that my hands don't do it very well. Right. But I've learned that creative process. I've seen it. I've helped with the installs, and Josh Prater and James Bowen, the installers at the time, who I still keep in good contact with. After hours, if we were staying late, I would hang out too and help out with the raps, and they were both so informative, like just telling me what they were doing and what I needed to do if I was helping out, like explaining it to me. Like it just, you learn to really appreciate that side. And I don't think that you truly appreciate the installation side until you try it and do it and see how bad you can be or how good you can be or how you can improve and things like that. I just found my comfortable spot within the industry in design, but it's a pretty cool industry.
Yeah, and I think knowing that part makes you a better designer because you understand the way things are installed. I mean, at the end of the day,
yeah, Raps first, yeah.
That's awesome.
It's you have to know the rap side first, then you have to respect the car second.
Yeah, definitely. I love it.
Stay true to it. But what you were saying before about the Martini Porsche, like I think what you're talking about is the stripe on the Porsche where it goes around the hip right over the taillight.
Yes.
Just the way that it fits. That came from a little bit of trial and error. Andrea's pre-cut just a yellow stripe with knife lift, trying to get the shape down right, pulled it off, gave me the shape, in the picture, and we scaled it up, and it was just, it's so weird, man. Like that car in a proof, if I was to proof that to you with a print ready file, it looks so stupid because the Porsche has such a big ass hip.
Right.
When you go over that back wheel well, it just dips down. That the stripe looked like it was going straight through the back window in the print file. And so I had to have one stripe that was like a modified stripe for the proof, and then one stripe that was actually the print file. And that's not usually how we do things, because every one that we do, the whole time we design, it's ready for print the whole time. So all we have to do is just crop it and go. So one thing that I'm weird about, and I don't know why I'm like this, but I'm freaking anal about it, is I hate when designs stop just because they're not seen in certain places. So like we don't have any elements that end in wheel wells or windows or anything. It's just all one thing. It's not necessary, and I know it's not, but I feel like doing one thing as a service to wrap shops, it's like what you're actually buying from me is those print files, right? So those should be as complete as possible every single time. And but yeah, the getting stuff to fit right like that, there's certain situations where you're just like, man, we have to work together on making sure this fits right. I can't just send you a print file, or else there's going to be a reprint. And I don't like when wrap shops have to come out of pocket for a reprint.
Yeah.
Even if it's something that was just out of our hands, like a template, I'm weird about it. I tend to just cover it regardless.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have said that on air to all these people listening. But if it's ever just like a template issue and not a design issue, I still want to do something. So maybe we do the next one at a discount or something. Just like something, because I hate when we have to go out of pocket just because we're 2,000 miles apart. And it's rare that it's something with the design. It's usually something out of the blue, like just random. But it's rare that we have an issue, but when we do, it's not usually something that was like, oh, we should have done that. It's usually like, oh, okay, we'll make a note of that for sure. And
for the next vehicle. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's got to be the most stressful part. It's like, especially when you don't see the vehicle and you're relying on the templates to be as accurate as possible. And it could be anything. Any little thing could skew that.
Yeah.
And you got to reprint, and it sucks, and it happens. But you live, you learn. It's an accident or whatever the case may be, and you make a note and move forward.
Part of the trade, I guess. It just comes with the territory.
Yeah, definitely.
What do you? So since you're doing wrap design too, what obstacles do you run into as far as like how many proofs do you usually do on a commercial wrap before you're like pulling your hair out?
I do 3 soft renderings, and
so you keep 3 changes. Is that like in your pricing?
That's it.
Charge more, or?
Yep, that's it. So 3 renderings, 3 major changes. After that, it becomes hourly, which just seems like to be the ongoing thing. And the rates might be different all the way around for everybody, but I think that's fair for a client to pay. Get 3 renderings, 3 different concepts. I'm not spending hours on these things. I'm maybe spending 15 to 20 minutes of design, just quick renderings.
Oh wow!
Yeah, just quick, because the commercial stuff, you know how it is. It's just quick, easy. Sometimes they know what they want, and I'll maybe only do 2, and one of them will be 100%. Boom, ready to go. All right, send you the files, done. And like you said, the ones that take you a little bit longer, you might lose a couple bucks, but the ones that are quick and, the first timers, they're like, yep, that's what I want. Give me the print files, makes up for it,
So you're able to knock out a wrap design that fast?
Well,
or
first,
is that just like your initial concept?
Initial concepts at first, and then after that, I won't do it to scale. Everything will be dumbed down. Once they approve it, then I'll transfer it to scale and then send them the files. Because it's hard to design it on. I design full scale. I do full scale at like 72, and I know you're gonna rip me a new one for 72 because I heard the little rant you had on the other podcast about 72, and then you wish you would have done 100. But I like the 72 for commercial stuff. But I get where you're coming from.
I mean, it's a preference sometimes.
Yeah.
You guys prefer that. You take less to render, in your rip station and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I think it's definitely more the custom side that has to. It's like it has to.
The details,
especially if we're doing the weather wraps.
Yeah.
Because and honestly, like if I hadn't seen like our stuff in person, like it probably wouldn't have happened. But it's one of those things where like I want it to be a certain way, and I wasn't happy with the end result. So it just ends up like, okay, well, we're going to take an extra 3 hours on every single one that we do,
right?
And we're going to do it this way. But the result will be a different quality level, and
right.
that's what I wanted. So one thing that I did learn, and this is probably, it sounds like this is something similar to what you do, but I think that a lot of wrap shops that have an in-house designer would want to consider is what I noticed is across the board, I see, especially at the wrap shop when I was there, if you have a client that's making a lot of changes and there's just like a change after a change after a change, they were never happy with the initial design in the first place.
Yeah.
So when they finally do approve it, they may still not be in love with it, but they're just kind of accepting the fact that it's been going on forever.
Mm-hmm.
So what we started doing last year was, if it's a commercial wrap, even some of the custom wraps, it's worth the extra time. We'll do 2 to 3 completely different designs for almost every project.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some projects where it's just a straightforward, we know exactly what the plan is. But if there's ever like a little bit of a question, we'll do 2, 3, maybe even 4 different complete styles, full blown one side of the car.
Yep.
So our first proof will be like 3 or 4 driver sides, completely different. And usually when I send that proof, I say, okay, here's concepts. I want you to tell me what you love. Tell me which ones you hate. I want to know what you don't like. Tell me if you would combine any of these, run with one of them, like give me as much feedback as possible. And what having options, and this goes into when we do logos as well, having those options ends up spending less time on the project because we get so much direction from that initial proof first.
Right.
Whereas if I gave you one concept and you're like, it's okay, let's try changing this and that, and then we go through, we change that, and they go, okay, well, let's try changing this and that again, and we change more. And, we get 8 changes in, they finally say, okay, it's approved, and then you never really hear from them again, whether they go somewhere else or they just pull it off in a couple of years or a year. You want them to be in love with it. I mean, they're spending their hard money if it's a custom car. They're spending, something that they're passionate about, and you want them. You're a car guy. How many times do you get out of your car and you have to look back at it? You have to just admire it for a second. You can't just walk in your house. You got to look back at your car and go, damn it, freaking sexy.
Yep.
It's the same thing for a business. People are going to be attracted to something that's attractive. And the guy who's in charge of approving the artwork for a business, they have to get to a certain place to make it really represent their business correctly. So by getting those options out of the way up front, it weeds out that extended amount of changes altogether because you're just focused on that one part of, okay, we're going to mix and match these two, and here's what that looks like. And then they get what they want.
Dude, you're going to love...
Or they don't. Maybe the second proof has to be 3 or 4 concepts again, But
right.
Even then, you're still going to narrow it down that much more because they don't always. A lot of times, a client will have a picture in their head, and they're trying to tell it to you, but the way that you're receiving it and representing it is not what they have in their head.
Right.
And you gotta like get it out of them, and like it's like pulling teeth sometimes. So there's having multiple options for someone. It's I think it's huge, man.
Absolutely.
Huge.
You're gonna love this book, man. You're gonna love this book. I'm gonna talk to
I
Dan.
can't wait.
Dude, it's gonna change your life because you sit there and you think and you think you're doing the right thing. And we are. You know what I mean? We're sitting down, we're talking to a client, we're trying to gather information of what they want. Dan's book actually does a complete opposite almost. It's like he doesn't care what you want. It's like he basically designs the logos and the brands based on your demographic. You know what I mean? If you're catering,
I mean, to be honest with you, I see that in what Dan puts out.
yeah, dude. This, I'm telling you, you're gonna be blown. You're gonna be blown away. The way he just thinks about going about a concept and a design, whether it's just a rebrand, a logo, or a vehicle concept, it's just completely different than he's completely changed my mind on. I feel like I've done everything wrong up until now. You know what I mean? Reading this book.
I don't know if there's a wrong way. It's just about
but there's an absolute, real professional way of looking at things. Things that you wouldn't even know. It's just a real great teaching guideline book in our craft. You know what I mean? Really, really great book.
Mm-hmm. I didn't even know it existed.
Oh man,
and Dan and I keep in touch, and
he didn't even promote his own book to you. How dare he?
Yeah, Dan, what's up, bro? Come
Jeez,
on.
I'm gonna have to write him an email tonight.
I wonder how it's gonna work because if you have a promo code, does he send out the book still?
That's the logistics that I'm working out right now. That's one thing I have to talk to him about because it is on Amazon and things to that nature.
I don't know if I could have a book from a friend and not have it signed. That's why.
Yeah, I mean, I got a book, but unfortunately, I didn't get it signed. You know, I guess. But he's, you know what? I send him a couple of emails. He sends me a couple of emails. It's cool to keep in touch with them and new concepts and stuff like that. So, you know, the one thing I love about this podcast, just side note, is that I love meeting new people. Like, I just feel like I've brought in my friend zone to like so many more people in the industry that I would have potentially never met or talked and just admired their work on Instagram or Facebook. You know what I mean? Like, it's so cool that we can sit here legit. I've never talked to you other than a freaking email, and we're going on 2 hours on a solid conversation about cars, industry, materials, programs that we use, you know, different things. And we're so passionate about these things, and we have that just thing about each other that like we could just sit here and talk for hours about the vehicle wrap industry or even cars, which we have been for 2 hours. And, you know, it's all good shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just love this.
I listen to a lot of podcasts. I told you that the hours I work, so I end up having to have stuff on. Sometimes if it's a mindless design, I'll have a TV show on or something like that. Just not necessarily like watching it intently, but just I have to have some kind of noise. Even I'm weird. Even when like I sleep, I have to have something on.
Yeah.
But so it's either like every season of every show possible, or every podcast possible. I listen to like a lot of Joe Rogan podcasts, Bert Kreischer.
Love Joe Rogan.
Like podcasts are just a way to just put down the phone and stop typing and actually just like have a raw conversation. What comes with it, you never know. I mean, we were talking about music a few minutes ago, but yeah, you get to know people at such a different level. Whereas honestly, like if you and I saw each other at SEMA, we might shake each other's hands and introduce each other to one another, but we probably wouldn't have a 2-hour conversation.
Right.
Not at all. But this industry is really cool too, because in meeting other rappers and guys from shops and designers and stuff, you realize how much we all have in common. So like we were talking earlier about how a lot of guys start out, doing it out of their house or mobile installs and stuff. And that story is across the whole industry.
Right.
It's like minds all coming together, and I don't know that there's a lot of industries that would be like that, where we all kind of came from a certain blend of this and that and turned into something else.
I definitely
It's really
agree.
cool, man. I can't.
Oh shit, dude! This has been crazy. I know you're putting in crazy hours for some design stuff, and
It's gonna change soon, man. We try to stick to a 7 to 10 business day timeline at all times, and that's why I'm here. I mean, that's why I'm working so much. I don't want to let anyone down ever, and I'm not desperately searching, but I'm super trying to be desperately searching for a fourth designer to come in and really bring a different point of view on design, and also pull in some of the workload and focus more on team building rather than just like, okay, you're doing this one, I'm doing that one, you're doing this. Like I like team-based stuff, so I'm really trying to get into it, but I just need to get that fourth guy, man. Once I have that fourth guy, I feel like you're going to see a lot of changes as far as Skepple goes. That's what I have planned for this year.
there you go. You heard it first or second. Scott's got an opening available. How can they reach you via email for something like that?
Email Scott@skepple.net. SKEPPLE. You can think of it as my first initial last name. That's
Yep.
Kepple. Or you can think of it, and I just thought of this last week, so it's not that profound, but Studio Kepple.
Studio Kepple.
I kind of like that better, because I think one of the biggest things, it's not a pet peeve, but it's a pet peeve. It hurts me when like Joshua designs something or Donnie designs something, and then someone's like, Scott Kepple put sick design. My team. That
Yeah.
wasn't me. I mean, I make all the print file. I make every single print file just because it lets me make any final adjustments, tweaks. If I can catch things, and make sure they're set up exactly the same way 100% of the time. So I do all of that, but I'm really big on credit to the team, making sure that they get the recognition they deserve for the hard work that they put into it.
Definitely.
Because the raps that I'm working on, I get into it. It becomes a baby. It's art. It's literally a piece of art in every way, shape, and form. Just like a trade can be an art, but this is literally like designing. It's pencil. It's tablets. It's the actual art. So there is an emotional attachment to every project. So they're the same way. If they're spending 8 to 10 hours building out one side of a wrap design, when I see someone just like, thank you for designing this for me, Scott Kepple, I'm like, wow, good job, Joshua.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
shit. But that's a great team
really
leader right there.
On thank you, Skepple. When people tag me, I tend to say just to say thank you, Skepple Inc. Something like that.
Yeah.
Because it's more than me. It's not even about me at the end of the day. The name Skepple was my nickname, and since I didn't really have a plan when I incorporated, I just made it my name, and then it turned into just wrap design. So it's Skepple Inc. At the end of the day, that's what it is. It's not me.
Yeah, you're a great leader, and you always tag your teammates in all your photos. I noticed that top right corner. There they are.
Of course.
Because it's not just you, and that's huge. You know what I mean?
That's something that honestly, like tagging the team and involving them is something that I learned from Austin when I was working at 201. He would tag all of us in every single picture, and it keeps everyone involved. Even if they didn't do it, they're still going to be tagged in it because it came from us.
Right.
We're a unit, we're a family, we're a team. So whatever we put out, just because I'm designing something doesn't mean that I didn't say, Joshua, what do you think of this? Does it look good or bad? You know, it doesn't mean that we're not still working together in some way, shape, or form. Or like, it doesn't. Joshua might be designing something completely guided by something that I drew.
Right.
Something that we got into the past few months is before we do a design, we'll actually draw the whole thing out. Just before we waste time moving elements around and making weird shapes.
Yeah.
So we'll draw the whole thing out on the tablet, and that way when we go to the computer, we have a game plan every time. What it results in is a lot of really ugly looking drawings in our tablets, but it keeps the creative side, and it lets us get away from the computer for a second too.
Yeah. You ever notice you get headaches when you're in front of the computer for a long time? Do you wear glasses?
I wear contacts.
Mm.
You want to hear something weird? Yeah, I used to get headaches all the time. I don't anymore.
Yeah. You want to know why?
I used to.
You
why?
Want to know why? And I heard this from an eye doctor. It's not so much the screen; it's you looking at the screen for a long period of time, and it depends on as far back your screen is or as far close the screen is. I used to get my headaches on my way home. I lived almost an hour away from where my wrap shop was. And what it was if I was designing most of my day and I was doing production, just letting the printer run, and I was just working on a new project for a few hours. As soon as I left and got in my truck to go home, I would instantly get a migraine. And it was because my eyes couldn't adjust fast enough to where I was like actually looking at the world instead of looking at my goddamn screen. And that was triggering my migraines, was that my eyes weren't adjusting or didn't have enough time to adjust prior to me getting in the car and driving and looking at things further away. That was a big thing for me. That was a game changer. I stopped, believe it or not, going on my computer an hour before I knew I was going home. And that stopped my headaches.
And that helped.
Yeah.
That's wild. I guess because you have like a wind down period where you're looking at dimension.
Yep.
And not just a flat panel.
Yep.
I never thought about that. I used to get headaches real bad, man. And then now I drink way more liquids, like way more. And so I noticed that if I stay hydrated and don't eat Chick-fil-A, that sounds so stupid, but anybody that knows me knows that I'm obsessed with Chick-fil-A. Like, and especially now because it's literally, if I'm standing and I'm like right now I'm standing and I'm looking out the front door of the studio. And I'm looking at the Chick-fil-A sign.
Oh, see? When it's right in front of you, you can't say no.
So it became like a daily thing. Like okay, it's like 1 o'clock. I'm going to go grab a Chick-fil-A sandwich real quick. And I don't know what it was. I don't know if it's something in the oils of the delicious chicken that they have or what. But I didn't eat Chick-fil-A for like a week because I was like burnt out. And I didn't get a headache for that whole week. And now I only get it every once in a while, and I had to tone it down. But I noticed that if I eat Chick-fil-A, I get headaches. So I don't know if that has anything to do with my screen, but maybe it's because I'm looking at a screen and eating chicken at the same time.
Maybe
I have no idea.
Maybe,
but yeah, for me it was liquids and Chick-fil-A.
You can't get away from those waffle fries. Those things are so good.
Yeah, you're not lying.
Yeah,
not at all.
Yeah, as you're looking out the window, like, just drooling. Now you're making me hungry. What the fuck?
So what's your plan as a wrap designer? What's your plan? You're working out of the house now, and are you wanting to grow that into a studio, kind of like what we're doing? Or like...
I mean, eventually, yeah. I mean, that's a big plan. It sucks starting over, dude. I was there. It took me 5 years to get to a decent, comfortable like shop and be pretty much ready to go, like turnkey, ready to go, have no problems. Clients were coming in busy. And then I know that grind, man. I know that grind day and night, trying to make it work, living job by job. It sucks. Eventually, yeah. I mean, I think that might be the big plan, but who knows?
Just let it be natural. I think there's a way of forcing things to be big too fast that can fuck you up a little bit.
Well, I know the other end is the whole thing, and
the other end, wow,
yeah.
You had all of that. Yeah.
So now knowing that, I would do things differently second time around. You know what I mean?
It's really cool that you're a rap designer, because I don't talk to that many rap designers on a daily basis.
No. I'm trying to be, versatile as far as like talking to people. I'm going to be getting Christina on here as well, getting her point of view as a rap designer.
Shit.
Yeah, curvaceous
Holy
raps.
Shit.
Yeah, man, she's killing it.
I had the most talented illustrator in the rap industry.
Right.
100%. 1,000%.
Yep. She's what I'm talking
about. I look at her illustrations and I'm like, holy shit.
Right? It's just unbelievable.
Things I'll never be able to do right there.
Yeah, and you know what? That's a great part of our industry is there's people that look at things different and have different skills, and she's on a whole nother level with illustration, man. I can't wait. Have you seen like her little car? Her car that she's wrapping, her personal car?
I don't think so.
I think it's an Infinity. She completely wrapped it. Unbelievable design. I've seen like sneak peeks. I'm supposed to get a few photos tonight of some pictures of it because I'm going to be using it to promote her podcast as well for maybe by the middle of the month or so. But yeah, it's a whole mermaid underwater type theme.
Nice.
Insane.
Maybe I did see a sneak peek that she posted as well.
Yeah, I think she posted on like one of her stories, so it goes away after like 12 hours or something like that. But yeah, I love
those stories. I gotta get more active with those things too.
Yeah,
those are important.
Yeah, there's always little teasers on there and cool little stuff in people's stories. Yeah, dude, I love that there's so many different avenues you can take in this industry. Whether it's you could be a businessman and just sit back and just build something and have a great crew of people that know what they're doing and just, have plenty of work for them. And there's other guys that like getting hands-on that want to rap and they rap. And then there's people like you and I that just want to sit behind the computer and design stuff and, watch the process. You know what I mean? As far as putting it on. I mean, and it's not just that. I mean, you get the hand painters. You know what I mean? Still old school. That's a huge craft, man. I honestly wish I could hand paint. That'd be like, that'd be like an awesome, like little goal for myself. Figure out how to hand paint.
Yeah, it sounds stupid, but I didn't realize that you can do that with a tablet.
Oh man, you got to have a deep conversation with Dan. Dan comes from old school.
It didn't even like register until a little while ago, and I started like playing with just paintbrushes and the pencil.
Those were the original graphics.
Oh man, like this is freaking art, man. Like it's not even vector. I'm really just painting.
Yeah.
And you can get crazy. And I used to look at stuff that people did on Photoshop and be like, holy crap, how'd you do on Photoshop? Not even thinking about the application of Photoshop and what it's used for. Because I'm only using it for raps, I'm not thinking about the rest of it. But it's pretty cool.
It's insane. Anything else you want to talk about that we might have kind of oversaw?
We talked about everything we possibly could, almost.
I think so too.
I mean, there's probably something. I'll think of it. I'll think of it at 2:00 in the morning tonight.
Yeah.
Like, oh shit. But I would just say that if you want to check us out, if you're interested in seeing what we do, or if we can help your rap shop, either take on a different look, on certain projects, or if you're between designers, check us out. Instagram.com is Skepple. Facebook.com is Skepple. Our website is Skepple.net. Twitter is Skepple Inc. It's all pretty self-explanatory, I guess. But yeah, check us out. Hit me up, ask me some questions. I'm really pro in industry, so the flat rates are set up to be as simple as possible to be able to quote a customer without waiting for me to email back. But I always understand those situations, and there's limits to a flat rate too. Obviously, if we're doing something completely custom illustrated, I think it's 2.5 weeks with one designer on it, then it's going to be not a flat rate.
Right.
But most reps tend to just fall into a flat rate. But at industry forward, I'm interested in long-term relationships with you guys. So I tend to look at not every job as has to be this, but more like, okay, well, what do we need to do to make this one work so we can get the job done and move on to the next one, and we'll figure that out. So don't be afraid to ask questions. And you're probably the same way with your wrap designs too. If you're trying to make something work for a deal for a customer, let's work together and continue working together. That's one project amongst what could be hundreds. It's not about just one. I mean, every client is important, but continuous client is very important too. So industry forward, just hit me up and ask me. I'll say yes. No big deal. And if anybody has a designer, if you ever want to mess around at all, just hit me up, man. But we are definitely looking for a fourth guy now. Building out the team. We're in Jacksonville, Florida. Hit us up. We do one thing. We do one thing. Hit us up.
Yeah.
But that's all I really had, man. I think I don't even, man, I've been talking so long, I don't even know if I've mentioned like a lot of the guys I usually work with, but just much love to everybody, because even though I don't talk to everybody as much as I'd like to, when we all see each other, and did you go to SEMA last year?
I didn't. I'm actually going to SEMA.
Well, you can't have this podcast and not go this year. You have to.
I am going, absolutely, and I'm going to RapsCon.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
What is RapsCon this year?
It's in Long Beach. I'm actually looking up tickets right now. August 2nd. August 2nd to the 4th, I believe.
Well, I'll probably meet you there. I got to go to that one too.
Yeah.
But and some guys think that just because we've never worked together, then doesn't make us friends. But when with all these rap guys that get together at these events, it's freaking nuts, man. So I just much love to everybody, whether we work together or not. Just everyone just seems to be killing it and doing the best they can for themselves and for the industry. So much love and a huge, massive thank you for all the love and support so far. And hopefully we can just keep on impressing you guys and pushing our own limits and what we're putting out. Cool shit. Just thank you.
For sure.
And thank you for having me on this.
Dude.
Podcasts are such a new platform that is relatively untapped, and same goes to YouTube, things like that. I mean, there's shops. I mean, back at 201, we used to put out like stupid, funny videos and stuff, and we had a Vine and all that. But there's a lot that isn't happening, probably because a lot of us don't have the time. But there's a lot of mainstream ways to really push the industry, and I think podcast is definitely one of them. So just thank you for having me on, considering me worthy of being on your show, and nice to meet you. Good conversation.
Yeah, you too, dude. Make sure you don't get sick for RapsCon. I definitely want to meet you. Make sure you get no doctor's notes, all right?
See, maybe what it is maybe I'm trying to prepare for these trips, right? So maybe what I need to start doing is just keep eating a bunch of Kit Kats and drinking Monsters.
Yeah, don't change your diet.
My normal self.
Yeah, don't change your diet, because that's probably why you're getting sick.
I have a feeling that when I got sick at SEMA, I have a feeling that it was the Sbarro that I got at the airport beforehand.
Yeah.
because I got Sbarro pizza and it was not hot, and maybe it was that, I have no idea, but it was just like I could not do anything. It was wild. I got to see the world's fastest wrap, with the Arlon training, which got beat like the next class at Icon. I'm pretty sure it was at Icon that it got beat at, but it was still, it was still cool. I just wish that I was there for more of it.
You were part of it. You were half there, half attended. You know what I mean? It's all good.
Just picture meeting, like, you've talked to a lot of the guys in the industry now, so just picture meeting all of them for the first time, just pouring in sweat with bags under your eyes, wanting to throw up. It's not the best way to meet people.
That's so funny. Yeah, no airport food, will you? Just not even plane food, I don't think. Yeah, that's it. Bring your own snacks.
Well, you can eat plain food as long as it's in the form of alcohol and liquid.
That's it. To get me to point A to point B, to knock me out. I hate planes, so I haven't been on a plane in a few years. So, yeah, we'll see.
You're not gonna drive, are you?
Hell no. I'm gonna
okay.
I'm gonna have to bite my tongue and take the plane ride. You know what I mean? But whatever.
Look it up, man.
Yeah, a couple of drinks will help me pass out for that 6-hour plane flight. But
I can't sleep on planes. I get groggy and my head does the bobbing thing where my body's falling asleep but my face isn't, and I can never actually fall asleep and wake up an hour later. I end up just staying bored for the whole time.
Well, bring your tablet. Maybe you can work on the plane.
Yeah, that's what we did last year.
Yeah, see, I already know you. See, see, 2 hours of talking with you, I already know how you roll. So.
There you go.
That's awesome.
Well, if you ever come down the East Coast, make sure you stop by.
Oh, for sure.
The studio is like an ever-evolving thing. Like, I moved in, the office looked like crap, and we redid it. We did the floors and everything, and then I realized, like, wait a minute, we're in this tiny-ass office, but we have a huge shop. So now I'm kind of wanting to knock down a few walls and maybe just have one room. I don't know.
Open concepts. Open concepts are good.
Whenever you come by, it'll be a work in progress still because it's just constantly changing.
Perfect. Love that invitation. I'll take advantage of that.
Stay creative, man, and keep doing it. The wraps look good. Now that I know you're not in a wrap shop at all, and that's really cool to know.
Yeah, definitely, dude.
But yeah, I'll be checking out your work as you go and keep in touch. And if you ever need help with any, wrap designs or anything, or trying to figure out how something works that you've seen us do before, just hit me up, man. Like, just because you're a wrap designer or just because someone else is a wrap designer, I don't really believe that there's like it's not a cutthroat thing. It's such a huge industry that when shops are cutthroat, I'm like, why are you cutthroat? There's other customers out there. Just show why they should use you instead of trying to argue your way into it. So,
yeah, I appreciate
I'm down
that.
to help you in any way I can. Really, if you're ever trying to line something up that's not working or need a template or something, just hit me up.
I really appreciate that, dude. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you. And vice versa, I'll try to help you as much as I can if you get stomped or whatever the case may be in any way, shape, or form. You know what I mean? That's what it's about the industry.
Yeah, it's all helping hands. It just depends on the market too. All right, I'm not going to go into a rant about this, but have you noticed that it's almost like in each market there's only one shop that's like really into the industry?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like you can go into a city and there would be 5 or 6 wrap shops and then a bunch of sign shops, but only one is involved in the industry. I don't know why that is.
Yeah, I don't either. I think I've gone to numerous states and I've done research and talked to a bunch of people and always networking, and I totally agree with you. Isn't that weird? Actually, it is. I don't know.
I never like really thought about it before, but it just seems like every shop I work with is from a different town.
Yeah.
It's never like the same town.
Yeah.
Never. Even in Jacksonville, when I was working in a wrap shop, like there's other wrap shops in town, but we were the ones that were like really into the industry. Maybe it's because we were building Pain is Dead, but we were just about the industry. So I just don't see it a lot from other places. It just seems like it's more like job in, job out, let's get it done. Job in, job out, let's get it done. And you never hear from them. It's kind of weird.
Yeah. I mean, even in my area around here where I live, and within, I don't know, half of a mile, there's like 3 sign shops, and one of them is like doing really well because they do everything. They do wraps and whatnot, but these people have been in business for 25 years. You know what I mean? All of them. And they're within a half a mile of each other. It's like they could throw rocks at each other all day long. And they're all busy to an extent, but there's that one guy that just is super busy. There's always a bunch of box trucks in front of his shop, like full to the gills, job in, job out, just like you said. And it's just funny how each town or even state has like one crazy shop, and then like that's like the staple of the town or whatnot. Like that's it. Like there's nobody else.
I wonder if it has to do with color change wraps.
I don't know. This local guy doesn't do color change. He does all commercial stuff. Honestly, the market.
So maybe it's more like a, sign shops are less involved in the wrap industry because the wrap industry is more directed towards the custom side. But I feel like the wrap industry is just as much oriented at commercial wraps as well. So,
well, that goes back to our conversation, however long ago it was, about doing what you are good at and sticking to that. You've got a way of doing it, and it's worked since however long, and you're killing it, and then that's it. It's the only thing you focus on. You don't want to change, which is fine.
Yeah.
Which is totally fine.
I want to grow, but I don't want to change.
Right. You know what I mean? But how do you not do both at the same time? You can't. Unfortunately, I think you lose out an opportunity.
You do, yeah. I mean, it's almost like you're cutting out money from yourself.
Yeah. Why limit yourself? I
don't think we'd be in business if it wasn't for Instagram.
Right. Social media. That's like the new website for everybody. Like nobody's building websites; they're just building Instagram accounts. Come look at it.
Oh yeah, I need to show my website some love. It's been a while, but usually it's just Instagram. Not even Facebook so much because of all the ads.
Right.
But, more Instagram than anything. But yeah, I realized that I'm at that point where I've been talking to you forever.
It's all good. We're going 2 hours and a half. We're almost going to beat Kevin's podcast right now. And Chuck's.
No, I can't. I cannot talk more than Kevin.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding, Kevin. I'm just kidding.
Kevin's awesome.
I think he's self-conscious when he tells stories that he's not.
Oh man, that dude is such a humble dude, man. I couldn't get enough of him. He was just like talking, and it was such a great podcast. Have you listened to that podcast yet?
Yeah, I was listening to it at 4:00 this morning.
Damn, dude. There you go. I appreciate the support, Scott.
Yeah, man. Kevin is probably one of the first other rap shops I ever met. I think when we were just like getting the PID network like rolling, I had talked to Matt Walensky and Kevin and I think maybe Steve Carney and from Carbon Raps Orlando and Justin Good, definitely from Redline Design, who I still talk to every single day. He's the man. He's the man with the plan. Between him and Kyle Optimus, I think I get more random ass videos in my Facebook Messenger than anyone else. You two are some weird guys, and I love you. But yeah, they were all like the first ones that I really ever talked to that were in the rap industry, and so I've known Kevin for years. I've known Matt for years, and I think he mentioned to you in the podcast the first time we met in person. I picked him up from Hexus training in Jacksonville and brought him to the shop, and but he got to ride in the Fiat.
Fiat.
Hey, that Fiat was the shit, man.
Dude,
my first wrap design.
Dude, I love that design, by the way. It was so sick.
Did you see it? The R2D2 wrap?
Yeah, I saw that. Dude, that goes back a while ago. I remember when you did that. Even the one after that with the splat with the Skepple on the side.
The blue and yellow?
Yeah, dude. That design was sick too.
You know, the blue and yellow was actually done, it's KPMF material, and a Status Pro, Preston Jordan, I think he's ecstatic now. He actually did it at a trade show, SGIA in Atlanta, and it was just showing KPMF's print material. But we didn't get the plan of, okay, well, we're going to wrap a whole car anyway. We might as well make a design that I'll keep. So I kept it on there for, I think, almost a year. And that's nice, man. It's like such an underrated material. And I think what I noticed at that show was that the solid color stuff is very tacky, right? That's like the going thing is that their stuff is tacky, but it's beautiful.
Yeah.
I think it was a little bit of the opposite for the printed material. I think it was like a lower tack, but once it was on, it was gangster.
Really?
It was different, and they have a cool story too. The KPMF family and how they got into the color change wraps, and I mean how Mr. K himself got into vinyl.
Yeah.
But,
they're the new guys on the block.
Yeah, but they're a big company that's a small company,
right?
Know? And they have a very personal story. The guys behind there that are doing the testing and stuff, like Bob, they're passionate about it. They're testing and stuff. And I didn't until I was at SGIA. That was 2015, 16. And when I went to SGIA, and I was talking to Bob. He does all the stress testing and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize how much they really do stress test these materials. They are subjecting it to all kinds of stuff to get better reliability and longevity out of the materials. It's really interesting.
Yeah. I remember back in the day when I think it might have been, I can't remember the brand, so don't quote me on it. I think it might have been 3M or Avery. They did this huge test and they put a bunch of films on this panel and left it outside for however long it was to see.
Kevin does that shit all the time, man. He leaves all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, just post it on the side of the building, just leave it there, and just see, what happens. I mean, that's great. I mean, I don't see anybody else really doing that, So why not see what your limitations are with the material,
Better than the customer finding out for you.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Now you got to rip it off, and it costs you money. Forget it.
Yeah.
Ugh. Unbelievable, dude. Scott. Honestly, huge pleasure to have you on. I know we went on off topic a little bit, but that's the way the podcasts go,
the whole
man.
Point, right? Yeah,
absolutely. Talk about whatever we want to talk about.
Thanks for having me, man. It's great to meet you. I can't wait to shake your hand in person at RapsCon, and all you mofos listening better be at RapsCon as well.
Absolutely.
Awesome. But yeah, pleasure to meet you, and I can't wait to hear myself ramble when this airs. So.
we got a good episode coming up. I can't wait to share.
Well, thank you.
Awesome. Scott, appreciate it, brother. Thanks so much. Have a great night.
You too.
I just want to thank Scott for taking the time out of his day to talk to us a little bit on the podcast. We shared some great stories and had some great laughs. This episode of the podcast is brought to you by Metro Restyling. Metro is here to provide you with the best possible price and service in the market. If you're looking for color change films, tools, and more, visit metrorestyling.com and click the dealer tab to experience a Metro advantage. You can also download the Metro Restyling app for Apple or Android and make purchasing your vehicle films easier than ever. And don't forget to let them know the All Wrapped Up podcast sent you. We are also brought to you by Alwan Wraps. Are you in the market for wholesale printing? Well, Alwan Wraps got you covered. With pricing as low as $3 per square foot and printing on different wrap and specialty films like metallics, reflectives, and chromes, Alwan Wraps will provide you with the quality printing and service. Visit Alwan Wraps, that's ALWAN Wraps.com, and use discount code ALLWRAPPEDUP at checkout and receive 10% off your next purchase. Offer ends April 1st, 2018. Hey, what's up, everyone? Hope you enjoyed this episode of the All Wrapped Up podcast. If you liked our content, hit that like button and review. And to stay up to date with future episodes, hit that subscribe button. Till next time, that's a wrap.